Welcome to the next dimension in entertainment. Coming to you live from the offices of Chapter One Films in Charlotte, North Carolina, this is the 4D Podcast with your hosts, Greg Prinz, Nathaniel Levinson, and Marco Brutus. Sit back and enjoy a deep dive into film. This is the 4D Podcast.
Feels like March. It's a very March. It's a very March day.
Dude, it is.
It's if you could give me your best March.
Yes.
Name any March.
March of Dimes.
Yeah. I think so. Probably.
Dude, it is
It is March
31st.
31st.
Yes.
I've already gotten my rent for my renters.
That's fantastic news.
Really, yeah. More than
On time.
Yeah. Above. I mean,
Above and beyond.
are you supposed to pay before or like on the first?
Normally it's due on the first.
Okay.
But typically, if you are a good individual, you typically pay a couple days before.
Fair. Okay. Well, then
Just to make sure that it goes through, all that good stuff. But
looks like I got a couple good individuals living
There
in
you-
my house.
there you go.
Well, it is episode 58 of the 4D podcast. It is Tuesday, March 31st, and we are pumped to have you guys joining along with us. We're going to bide a little bit of time until our other co-star gets here, and then we're going to get straight into the news. But if you are watching and you're wondering why you can't comment and join in on our nonsense and tell us how bad we're doing, because we've got a lot.
Boy, do we.
We've gotten a lot of that. That might have to be I don't know. That's going to have to become a segment. Did you do that already?
I did not. I didn't screenshot or anything, but I do have some funny comments that I can go through and read.
Maybe we'll
To be
get to
honest,
that at
it's
some point
super
today,
funny.
but we're definitely going to get to some of our comments because they're bad. But
Oh, they're so
let me
funny.
finish my thought. If you can't do that, it's because you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Join us. We want to hear your thoughts. We want more of you guys to make fun of us.
Yes.
That helps the show. It does. It makes things a little bit better. And thank God Nathaniel's here with our whiteboard, because without the whiteboard,
Yeah,
who
I don't
knows what we
know
would do.
what would have happened
If we didn't have the whiteboard, we would just be existing in 2026.
we would be
Like every other
lesser
human.
of.
You can look at that paper, but you can't look at mine.
Oh.
Marco just handed it to
Little-
me. You can't. Don't read it.
Don't read it and
Don't.
don't
read it, so look at it, but don't read it.
Yes.
Wait, okay.
Yes, that's a
mean
normal
wait.
thing to say.
Everybody shush. Everybody shush. Hide it from him because he could probably see through the back of it.
He can't read.
I can't see much of anything right now. Actually,
He can't read. Normally, there's no way he can read backwards through paper. I think we're safe.
you're safe. I think we're safe there. But we're happy that Nathaniel's joining us. We are gonna get into the news and notes. We have quite
You
a
can
quite a
start the news and notes before I get here, because I really don't care about it.
yeah right. The news
No, this
is
is
one of
good
the biggest
stuff.
talking point. It's one of our bigger talking points.
Especially this
Yeah,
episode.
this is going to be a lot. That's why I was going to jump right into it.
I don't
Granted,
care about
you only
the
missed
news.
like a minute and a half, so I was
Yeah.
just doing the intro. We talked about March, the month.
the month of March and how March
of
the
all
March
the months,
is.
it's one of them.
I basically I started off by
Fine.
saying name any March.
And I said,
Ides.
The Ides of March. He said March of Dimes, which I actually don't know what that means.
Susa did a
Oh,
bunch of marches.
the March of Dimes is like it's a charity
yeah,
thing.
I know what the March of Dimes
He
is.
said he
I
didn't
didn't.
know.
You didn't know what the March of Dimes is?
No,
That's like the
Brother,
biggest
how long
one.
Have you, sorry, how long have you lived in America? Have
My-
you ever gone grocery shopping
my
before?
response was okay. And that was it.
So what I'm learning is that Greg has never been to a grocery store before.
Bro.
They always ask about the March of Dimes stuff.
Would you like to donate to the March of Dimes? No.
No, it's probably they don't say it. It's probably written at a bunch of places, and I don't read things, guys. You know this.
That's fair.
We know this. All right, so let's get into the news
Dude.
of the last couple weeks. We got a lot of interesting trailers to
Yes.
get to. We have some trailer drops. Biggest of which, there's a couple. There's like two big ones. The first one would be Spider-Man: Brand New Day.
Yes.
This is kind of how are we feeling right now on MCU stuff? Just kind of in general.
I mean, it's still trash. They can always. The thing is, they can always turn it around.
yeah.
Because the potential,
The IP
no
is
matter
valuable.
no matter how much they have destroyed it and ruined it, they can always just ignore it and move on and make a good movie.
Right.
And we've seen examples of that. So as messy as the multiverse and all that, it's just like garbage.
Yeah.
There's always hope.
Yeah. I do think that specifically Spider-Man is going to suffer a little bit in the sense that,
We got a great comment.
okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I apologize.
You know,
It
Captain
is
U-
always
go ahead,
sunny.
Captain U Planet.
Well, it is always sunny in Doucheville.
Okay.
Is that a reference to Greg's sunglasses?
Yes.
Really hit him with the, you're not going to hit him with a horn. Why are you back there?
I think Marco's agreeing.
I am agreeing. That's the thing.
Dude, how many times has Nathaniel worn glasses? And
Yes,
never
but
gotten
I pull
any
it off.
flack?
Brother.
This is garbage.
This is ludicrous.
This is Bolsheviks.
See, the problem is I look like an old man. You look like a frat boy.
You look like an elderly baby.
I look like an old, apparently. I'd like to see a baby with a beard like this.
Anyways,
Yeah, that's why I thought.
MCU.
Maybe Santa Claus.
I think that the Spider-Man, although like like phases 1 through 4, I guess it was the end of 4 that was Endgame, correct? Am I right in that, or is
Yeah,
it phase
phase
3?
3 ended with Endgame, and
Okay.
then phase 4 and 5 are like
Okay.
nebulous and all trash.
Then phases 1 through I think most people would even look at the bad ones and be like, that was fine. It still existed in the MCU and we enjoyed that. And I think
There's a couple that are pretty bad, but
Yeah.
overall, yeah.
and I'm willing to say that, but I'm saying it didn't ruin the MCU is kind of what
Sure.
I'm getting at. Like everybody was still psyched about the MCU even when there was a
a
bad
couple
one.
of stinkers
Right.
didn't pull
Whereas
everything
the
down.
tone has shifted. The tone has shifted now to being like nobody like who cares about Ironheart or whoever these
Yeah.
characters are.
Right,
Like,
so-
nobody knows.
The thing is, I don't think you can save the thing as a whole, but I think you could still make a good movie in the
Right.
universe. And it's going to come down to the executives not meddling and the director deciding to say, I don't really care about this metaverse thing. We're just going to tell a good story. That's all it's going to come down to, because any of these heroes, well, okay, most of these heroes, you can tell a good story. Spider-Man is still, of all
Well, I
of
was
the
gonna
MCU
say,
stuff, is the
Spider-Man-
least tainted.
Yeah.
And it's shown that, that when they rebooted Spider-Man after Andrew Garfield's second one was a total disaster,
Right.
people were still like, I mean, I still like Spider-Man, even
Yeah,
though that movie
he's
was
such an
trash,
easy
because there
character,
are
yeah.
still good stories to be told.
Well, I do think that it is going to be difficult having introduced multiverse and
Yeah.
then going to like, hey, now let's tell a story. And it's always going to be hard. I really do. Like,
Yeah.
I am on the same, I was in the same boat in the sense that like, that what you said about Spider-Man not really being like, Spider-Man is not the cause of the problem of the MCU being bad right now. Like,
Nope.
having a Spider-Man movie.
Now,
the only
I-
reason we're
I-
talking about, like, we wouldn't even be talking about other MCU movies that are coming out. They're not worth talking about. The Spider-Man still carries. He is one of the few. You lost Iron Man. You lost Captain America. He's one of the few from that original where you're like, okay, he's still going hard, and we like his stories. However, the last one felt like the last one you could do. It's
It
it's
felt
almost
like a kind of a last hurrah.
you put everything into it.
However, I will say, because of that one, you have a clean slate moving forward.
Well, sure,
So-
but you also have the multiverse.
Yeah,
To deal with.
and that's the problem is, as long as they don't dabble with that,
Yeah,
and they just say it's in New York City, so that's why Punisher's there, because he's in New York City.
right.
Daredevil can show up because he's in New York City.
Sure.
And they're like low-key characters who aren't like going to cosmically change the game. That's what they really need to avoid. They need to
Yeah.
avoid bringing in
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange
to manipulate the world,
or you know,
because I don't want my friends
anyone
to
whose
think I'm
power
weird.
level is like cosmic.
Right.
They need to keep
That's
it.
what-
It needs to
yeah.
be low stakes. It needs to be intimate. It needs to be what the old Spider-Man movies were.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that DC actually started to do, and I wish they had continued down this road. And honestly, I would
Let Zack
have
Snyder do
done
things? That
I
was
would
a
have
bad
done
decision.
this with Marvel as well, is the origins concept. In what that would do is basically go through the whole idea of how they became who they are, starting from like
Well, this is
and DC has such a wide vast of superheroes and
With
things
terrible names.
terrible names. But Marvel could do the same thing with some of these like off the wall characters that nobody really knows, and it would be really interesting to see some of these origins happen. I think
Although-
that they just missed a
It was
giant
pointed out
thing.
to me, you know, I make fun of DC especially. Like Marvel's not the best at it either, but I make fun of DC for having just like the stupidest names.
Yes.
But if you think about it, like Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man, if you take a step back, you're like, those are actually dumb names. But because we know like the mythos and the legend around them,
right.
to us, they're not stupid names because we know what they are. So
He has the same last
anything
name
could-
as
could be-
Stupid Man.
Yeah. Anything could become a non-stupid name as soon as it is associated with something good. potentially.
And I mean, obviously, this is the first trailer that came out, so TBD. We'll see what we'll see what happens.
I like John Bernthal's Punisher; he's fantastic.
Yes, I actually am
we'll
really
see where
excited.
it goes. You know, they still haven't done Venom well, and they still haven't done Carnage. So those are two pools that they could go to. But
is the what's his name, Eddie
Tom
Brock
Hardy,
gone?
like,
Is Tom Hardy
I
out of it? Because he was
don't
in the end of the last movie.
I hope they just reset on that.
Honestly, they just can't seem to do Venom well, which is wild because he's the greatest Spider-Man villain. I mean,
Yeah.
He's easily the most iconic one.
Oh yeah, he's one of the most iconic. He's a super interesting character because he thinks of himself as a good guy,
Right.
and he thinks of Spider-Man as the bad guy,
Right.
and then Carnage is like, no, I'm just a serial killer.
Yeah.
So those three,
Well, the Venom movies tried to make him seem like a hero, and I'm like, that's
he's not. The thing is, he's not like a hero. He's more of an anti-hero.
Yeah, that's
And he's not like strictly speaking a villain. He's an anti-hero.
right.
Kind of like he's more in the line of Punisher, although Punisher's much more just than he is.
Yeah.
But Venom's like, oh, I'm not like a random criminal.
Yeah.
But I'm also not like heroic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next big thing, and this is probably equally as big on the headlines, is Harry Potter, the HBO series, released its first trailer. So we got our first look at new Potter. It kind of looks fine. I mean, obviously, the big thing that everybody's talking about, everybody's just talking about Black Snape. I mean, we can get there. Like,
We'll get there,
honestly, there's no point in talking about it. It was a stupid decision that it can only have been to drum up
drama. Yeah.
That's the only reason. And hey, Papa, whatever his name is, Big Papa, could knock it out of the park, right? There is every chance that he just absolutely nails it. Because if he nails it, people are going to be like, oh, he's actually done a great job. Like, I still wish they would have cast someone who actually looked like Snape from the books. But if he can nail it, people will accept it.
Sure.
But the reason people are backlashing against it so fast is because it's such a cynical move on its face.
Yeah.
When they're like, oh, we're finally going to do a faithful adaptation. By the way, Snape's black, even though he's one of the most described characters in the book.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of characters that you could make black or Asian or whatever you want them to be.
Right.
And it wouldn't really affect the story. Snape is not one of those characters. Like, Snape and Dumbledore and Harry and Ron and Hermione, you really can't
They're
do that.
described. They're described
so detailed in the books that you to do that is to say, I actually know what the book says and I don't care. And it feels like it. And I'm not blaming Papa, although he should have known better. He should.
What his name really Papa?
His name is like Papa Esiadu. I can't pronounce his last name. Or I can't remember exactly. Something like that. But anyways, Big Papa, right? He could knock it out of the park. He could do a phenomenal. And I can think of plenty of black actors that would do a phenomenal job as Snape.
Of course.
That's not really the issue. The issue is not necessarily the acting job. I think you can save it. I think he can save it. He can pull it back if he absolutely nails it. But what a lot of people have pointed out is that there are a lot of things that happen to Snape that suddenly take on really, really intense overtones if he's black. Like suddenly James, the people are like, oh yeah, your parents were the kindest people I knew, except for the fact that where they strung up a poor black kid and like hung him upside down and bullied him. Like, oh, also your dad was a total racist. Whoops. Whoopsie. Someone was like, so Neville, when he meets the boggart and
he's like, I'm scared of
Professor Snape. Like, you're scared of the black man? Jeez, Neville, do better. So, and again, I'm not blaming Big Papa for that.
Yeah.
However, I mean, he did know what he was getting into.
Well,
so like
other than,
but it's just the reason people are so angry about it is because it's such a cynical move when there was literally no reason to do it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm hoping it's good because I really like Harry Potter. I want it to be good. Again, I think they're going to run into the same issue where I think they're going to run into the same issue.
You shut your mouth over
He's not
there.
a reader, so he's an illiterate goon. So we don't need to listen to anything he says.
It doesn't even matter. I've never even read all the books, and I still love the movies. I don't. Anyways, point is,
it could be great.
Yes, I think the main reason why, obviously, I'm going to watch it. Number one, because it's Harry Potter.
Sure.
Duh. But two, I actually do want to go back and read these books eventually and see how close the show actually gets to the books.
I mean, to be honest,
and the reason for that is because, as far as I understand it, the books really take like 50+% out of the movies, or out of the movies, and it's like,
especially when you get past book 3, because again, the movies are all about the same length.
Yeah.
Book 4 is twice as long as book 3.
Right, and I think having a TV show, having a TV show allows you to be more true to what the actual 100%
agree.
Yeah.
I think they're going to run into the same issue because they've ordered the same number of episodes for every season. What you should do is you should have if the first book, you say the first book takes 10 episodes, let's say 10 30-minute episodes, then the last book needs 30 at least to do it justice.
I mean, it's a long season.
It's a long
show,
season,
but
yes. However, if you're invested in the show and you really want it to be like that, then
worth it.
No one on the watching side would be like, "Oh no, it's super faithful to the books, and they got everything in there that I wanted to see." When I get more TV to watch that I really like, no one on that side is going to complain. It's a production cost issue. But it's like if you're going to put money into it, do it right. Just
not only
put
that,
money
but
in.
there are shows out there with like 80 episodes in a season.
22 used to be the norm.
Yeah. Well,
24 was 24 1-hour-long episodes, and it was great.
Yeah. And I know, for example, like my wife, she watches a show that has like literally like 70 episodes per season. It's
Is
wild.
it an anime?
No. It's comically, it's a Spanish soap opera.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, but regardless, it's like 80 episodes, 70, 80 episodes per season. And she just finished the last season not long ago.
And this is a streaming thing where all the seasons are like trimmed down to mini series size, which I think for some things works. But I think for other things, like you got to let them breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it in the sense that I am not an incredibly huge fan of the movies of Harry Potter. I think that the world is fascinating. I don't think that the movies consistently do a good enough job. So maybe the show will bring more to it. So I'm excited to see it. I'm excited.
Listen to the audiobooks, then you're allowed to have an opinion.
Fair, that's fair. We also had a trailer come out for Master of the Universe. This is the He-Man, right? Isn't that what it is?
Okay. My sister was like, what did she say? She said like,
it's He-Man, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, he has such a fuckboy hairdo or something like that. I was like,
he's He-Man.
I mean, yeah.
Like it's literally Skullface
If
or whatever.
I don't hear Skeletor going, yeah, then it's garbage and it should be thrown in the trash can.
I don't know much about the story of He-Man, nor do I have any interest in.
Should have asked Damien. I literally couldn't care less. I've never watched He-Man. I've never been invested.
The whole "I have the power" is like iconic, but that's about the extent, right? It's like,
I mean, I'll watch Mortal Kombat if I want to hear people say one line from some kind of IP that existed at one point.
Yes.
My only knowledge of He-Man is the Four Non-Blondes song. I say, hey, what's going on? That's literally my entire experience with He-Man. I did not grow up. That's like 80s, like He-Man, Transformers.
Well, that's why I saw the
watched
trailer and I'm like, oh, that was my first thought. I was like, oh, it's from that video, and I'm like, well, that definitely wasn't a music video. That was a show of some kind. And I'm like, oh, it's He-Man.
If they don't have a moment where He-Man walks in and says, "What's going on?" then they've completely screwed the pooch. They've lost the thread. I think they did. There was a live action. Right? Am I crazy?
Maybe
I feel like there was.
Ago. I don't know.
And there was a live action Skeletor, and he looks like he looks like a cross between Voldemort and a ghoul from Fallout.
We also got another pretty important trailer, the Moana live action trailer dropped with Dwayne the Rock Johnson as
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
And of course, in the trailer, he's like, "Well, you're welcome." And I'm like, "Thank you,
trash." I like The Rock, but this is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, they're just gonna. It's just to be honest, it looks all animated. It looks very CGI.
Yep.
I mean, he's like,
it is.
It's all.
Here's the thing, I can't stand this new way of doing a live action is essentially just CGI, just in somewhat humanized form, because it all looks weird as it is.
It's just a cash grab.
It's a cash grab because Moana did so damn good in the original
and
that they
go to
need
see
it.
Lilo
You know
and
what I
Stitch
mean?
made $1 billion, even though they completely changed the story and made it heinous. Oof,
Yeah.
That's actually going to come up in my talk. You know what?
All right,
That's going to come up in my soapbox.
Ooh.
Well, anyway, so the Moana trailer dropped. We'll monitor that, I guess. I don't know. A couple other ones. Paw Patrol. They're releasing a Paw Patrol movie.
I thought
Is it live action or is it?
No, it's not.
Then I'm not surprised at all. Paw Patrol is huge.
Yo, it's gigantor.
It's monstrous.
It's
big
huge.
movie.
So that doesn't shock me that they're doing that. And to be honest, it's one of those that if you have kids as an adult, I feel like it's
Paw
not
Patrol.
going to be
It's like
that
Paw Patrol
hard
and,
of a watch for
Paw
you.
Patrol and Bluey. And like,
Well, none of us have kids, so
Sure.
I guess no one
how do you know?
and then The Gate, which
I know nothing about.
I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer to this movie. It
Nope.
kind of looks like Get Out. Like it's like three black dudes go into a gated community, but then they're trapped by all the white people who are just like, we run things in here. And he's like, I'm God in here.
Oh my Lord. Who's in it?
Nobody that I knew, but apparently it's getting some recognition because it's like, ooh,
Edgy,
yeah.
except it's not.
Cultural issues. And I'm like, I don't know how many black people are getting trapped into gated communities.
Yeah.
And
black people who are in gated communities are there because they moved into a gated community.
this movie is pre-assuming that no black people live in gated communities.
No,
be racist.
no black person has ever moved into a gated community and be like, oh my gosh, there's a gate here. I can't leave. Like,
how do we get over this gate? Movies that dropped this the last couple weeks. Well, we'll be talking about one of these big time. My first segment's going to be about this. We all watched Project Hail Mary. Note Amazon MGM's highest grossing film over
now, is that adjusted
million.
for inflation?
I think that
Because
Amazon MGM. It's Amazon MGM. I don't know if that's a newer.
No idea.
Newer.
Who knows?
Production
I
company.
don't know.
I would
but
venture
whenever
to
like,
say that it's
yeah,
newer.
it made the most money. Okay, but how many tickets did you sell? Because that's like a more accurate.
It was the only note about the movie was that was the one
right. Because
headline.
the ticket is
on
like
it.
4 times as much as it used to be in the 90s.
It's a great movie. We're
Yes.
all going to talk about it. My first segment, I'm going to lead us off, and we're going to do a kind of highlight on Project Hail Mary, and we'll all kind of bring our thoughts and chat about that. So we'll save that. Super Mario Galaxy also came out.
Fox McCloud, baby.
Didn't that come out this week? That comes out this
it
week.
comes out next week.
April 3rd. April 3rd.
No, it comes out
I
the
think
6th.
it had early
I'm
screenings.
pretty sure it comes out on
the
the 6th.
headline was that with
Oh.
reactions to the early screenings were positive.
I'm pretty sure it comes out on the 6th, which is the Friday, I think. No,
Yeah,
it's
which is-
Monday. It's no, the 6th is next Monday. I don't know. It comes out soon, like real soon.
Okay, I think
I don't think it's out yet,
The
though.
3rd is when I have like the actual release date.
Yeah,
is
I'm
the
pretty
3rd.
sure it's
That's
the 3rd.
so it's Thursday or
This-
Friday.
The
It's this
pre-screening,
Thursday- this
the
Friday.
pre-screenings have been viewed by a lot of the big critics.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah, the whatever.
The big critics.
Whatever.
So they've given it positive reviews.
Who
so
cares
it was
about
a
the
headline.
critics?
I'm going to be honest though.
Honestly,
I
I couldn't
am
care
looking
less about the
forward to
critics.
the Mario
need to watch
Galaxy
the first
because
one
the
then.
original is really good. The first Mario
watch it.
movie is really
I'm gonna
good.
watch it.
It's a very, I don't know what you would call
Nintendo
it.
movie?
It's a Nintendo movie. It's a feel good, nothing crazy, cool animation, very bright colors. It's a fun watch. It's one of those. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's not like it's like, oh my god, this is the best movie ever. But it's still a good movie,
Now,
and so that makes me curious and excited for.
Do they
for the
let
second
my
one.
boy Ouija shine?
Yes, I think they did a great job with all of the characters. To be completely honest, I mean, that's my opinion.
Mario can suck it. Ouija's my boy.
And the last thing to drop was Daredevil Born Again Season 2.
I didn't watch season
Came out.
1.
I didn't watch season
didn't
1.
finish season 1. I feel like I need to now because
I just had no
I've
interest.
heard that season 2 is good.
so like,
I've heard it's like one good episode, then one bad episode, then one good episode, then one bad episode.
So that was when the MCU was kind of just getting going. Well, it was kind of at its heyday, and then it sprung these Netflix kind of miniature MCU started forming between Daredevil, Punisher, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones. And they all
course, you said
started
the women
having
last.
They all started. They
Classic
all had their own
misogynist, Greg.
seasons, and they all had a bunch of crossover. And then eventually there was a series called The Defenders or something, or The Protectors. Or
I honestly, the Defenders wasn't like great, but I liked.
I thought it was fun.
loved Daredevil in it.
Yeah, I liked that whole time was fun, despite like Jessica
yeah.
Jones was a joke. I mean, her show
season
was
2 was
really, really bad. Yeah, in season 2, I couldn't even get through. Luke
Season
Cage
1
was
was good.
Luke Cage was really corny, but he was fine. Iron
thought
Fist
season
was
1 was better
Iron
than
Iron
season
Fist
2.
was really cringy. Just
Iron
he
Fist
was
was
so
terrible.
dorky.
He was so
like
bad.
he was so. But I
He knew
still
nothing.
enjoyed. He knew nothing ever. It was always like, what's going on? What's going? Anyways, but all of them together, that was a fun time. I do remember really enjoying keeping up with all the series to make sure I was up to date. And then when the Defenders or Protectors, whatever it's called, came out, I do remember enjoying that, even if I thought it was low budget at times. But Daredevil and Punisher are really the only two to have continued on past that. They were the only ones that, almost as a standalone, were actually interesting in my opinion. And so Daredevil's continued. I started watching Born Again and didn't make it through. And so I think
Didn't it just
I
like
am
completely
gonna,
cuck Fisk?
yeah, like no, Fisk. I think
Fisk is the mayor, but like Vanessa's running everything.
yeah, it might be something like that. I remember losing interest. But now that the Punisher is going to be in the next movie, and I feel like that's kind of telling us that maybe Daredevil will be. I kind of want to go back and rewatch him, but. Anyway, second season dropped, so we'll see where that goes. Random news: 13 going on 30. They just announced that they're going to do a
No idea what that is.
remake.
Boo.
It's a movie with.
Yes, I know it's a movie. I never watched
It's
it.
okay. The first one is what feels like one of those old Disney movies that was like
it's
back in the day.
Is
And
it
it
like
was,
a kid gets an adult
Jennifer
body?
Garner. Yeah,
Yeah.
she turns into Jennifer
That
Garner.
has so many like bad
Oh, yeah.
implications. like we just like
Yeah, because then you're making out with some guy and you're like,
That's a 13-year-old. It's
13.
like the opposite version of the Japanese thing where it's like this little child who's 1,000 years old. I'm like, okay, that's still
It's still weird.
Come on, man.
Yep.
it's still weird.
But yeah, they announced a remake, so hooray. Hannah Montana 20th anniversary.
Hannah Montana.
Yes.
Hannah Montana.
Miley
She is-
Cyrus made a new
Migo.
song for this.
Yes,
actually.
she's also going on
No,
a
it's
podcast
just the Migo
tour right
song
now.
Hannah Montana.
What?
There's a rap song by Migo called Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana.
Hannah Montana. Hannah
So
Montana.
she's going on a
It's about drugs.
podcast tour?
Yeah,
Is that what I said?
she's currently on a podcast
What does a
tour.
podcast tour mean? Like she just goes on
Basically,
other
she's
people's
bouncing
podcasts?
around from podcast to
She's
podcast.
gonna
People
show
that
up-
are super
Why
famous.
isn't she on the 40 podcast?
She didn't. She
Hello, Katie.
couldn't. Our schedule did not match up with her schedule. I did reach out
Miley.
to her,
Okay.
but
Maybe
she was
that's
she was unable to
They all
make the
sound the same to
trip
me, I'm not gonna
to Charlotte, North Carolina. But no, she is doing her rounds of podcasts, famous podcasters and whatnot, like what is that, hot things or whatever they're called.
Literally couldn't care
What's the
less.
name of that one?
Yeah,
Anyways,
these things I definitely. This last one though is a little heartbreaking. Stephen Colbert will be writing the next Lord of the Rings movie.
Okay, so here's the problem. He's actually a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
I
And
don't
he's
think
super,
that's gonna. I don't
and
think
he's
that's
super
gonna
immersed
save
in
it.
lore. However, his brain is completely broken.
Yeah, he's so
He's
such a
steeped
slave
in his
to
ideology.
his ideologies that there's
And
zero
the
chance.
fact that he's like, oh, and Sam's daughter Eleanor is gonna figure out this thing that nobody else knew, and I'm like, okay,
if he was
that's red. There's so many red flags on this.
If it was Stephen Colbert is writing an adaptation of one of the books, maybe I'd go.
I don't know.
He's a big enough.
Even then, it
I
would just be a giant.
True. Okay. I would be skeptical, but because he's a big enough fan, I would go, maybe there's a chance that he's like, hey, I don't want to change this. But because he's getting a fresh news story and able to write it himself, it's going
Yep.
to be hot.
Now, who knows if it'll actually come out? But I can't. Yeah,
I just can't
see him.
believe that
he's
he's-
completely lost his edge.
gosh.
I can't see him writing anything good.
It's going to be
So
awful.
it'll be a disaster. I foresee it will be a disaster, and then the bad of Lord of the Rings is going to outweigh the good of Lord of the Rings, which is the original trilogy.
It's going to be
We'll
so
stop.
sad.
Oh, sorry, and the like 1970s animated one.
That one is still pretty.
No, but also there's a like Russian one that is hysterical.
might need to dig into that.
It's pretty amazing.
That's it for the news and the notes. Happy birthday to Ewan McGregor,
Thank you.
to Christopher Walken.
Like wow, it's my birthday.
What else are you supposed to do on
It's
your birthday?
My birthday. Wow.
10 Things I Hate About You came out on this day.
That one again. I liked it.
I thought it was great.
But there is a point where one of the girls just goes up and like shows her boobs to the and this girl's like 16, 17, shows her boobs to the teacher, and the teacher's like, huh? I'm like, okay, yeah, that teacher just got fired, and it wasn't not his fault at all. Like as a teacher, I'm like, please don't do that to your teachers.
he's
Please don't
as a
do that.
teacher, he's like,
Like
stop, please don't do
please never do that to your teachers because they get in trouble even though they had literally nothing to do with it.
Road to El Dorado came out
Oh,
this day.
great movie. Such a good movie. Quoted all the time by the Levinsons.
Can't tonight,
especially
stars, not right.
Not tonight. Stars, not right. And both is good.
Tommy Boy came out on this day. The Matrix.
Ah.
Enter the Matrix.
One
came
of
out
my
on this
top
day.
five
First
of all
one.
time. So
Incredible
good.
movie.
What it not just a phenomenal movie as it like by itself,
Yeah.
but also what a culture impacting movie. If you look at like all the cool stuff, everything that was cool in the 2000s is because of the Matrix. All the black leather and the glasses and I still think that shit is cool.
I'm gonna bring it up in my soapbox special. I'm gonna be talking about movie trailers, and I'm gonna mention the Matrix trailer. And last movie to mention is ATL with T.I. came out.
What?
Well,
The world's first exclusively auto-tuned movie. What's really funny?
man.
What's really funny is T.I. actually has a phenomenal singing voice.
You're thinking you're not thinking T.I. doesn't do.
No,
that
I'm not thinking about T.I. I'm thinking about,
you're thinking of
T-Pain.
T-Pain, yeah. T-Pain is
yes.
actually like a phenomenally talented musician.
yes, he really is.
But he just does auto-tune because he's like, well, that's what sells.
yeah.
It's fun.
But anyways,
He just-
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
What song did T.I. do the ceiling fan order?
T.I. did. I got a creep in my 3. I don't know.
Please continue.
I
Like
said you can do whatever you like. I said
Oh,
you
yeah,
could.
yeah.
He ironically made
Whatever
you
you
can do
like.
whatever you like, and then he made Live Your Life and stop.
So
stop.
live your life.
That one's all about don't keep thinking about what you want. He starts off, he's like, why you keep thinking about the things you don't have and think about the things you do have. And it's like all supposed to be about like just live your life with what you have. And the next song is you can have whatever you like. And I'm like,
pick a lane,
yeah.
CI. Pick a lane, bud.
He's just showing everybody he's like, I can do whatever I want.
Moron.
So anyways, that was news and notes. And all right, we're gonna get into the show. I'm gonna bring the first segment of the day. It is going to be a movie spotlight on Project Hail Mary.
Good movie.
Oh,
All right, moving on.
Time out. Wait, before we get there, we do have to talk. We got to go around the 40 podcast couch and
yes.
talk about the things we've been watching. So we obviously all watched Project Hail Mary.
Yes.
We'll be coming to you shortly with our thoughts on that. Other movies that I watched. Nathaniel and I watched the second Mortal Kombat because I think
We watched the second and the remake.
and the remake.
And the remake was actually pretty good.
The remake was the second one
too
was
much. It was too
the
much.
second one was I showed Marco a clip from it. That movie
would be dead.
Yeah, that movie
So
is
good.
a clown show. Like not like the first one for sure exists and it's so bad it's good and charming. The second one is like it's so bad it's good, and then it was just a TV release or something. Like even though it wasn't, it was actually a theater release. But like that's how bad this second movie was. It was a little too much. And then yeah, the remake actually really cool. I don't know. I really enjoyed the remake, like to the point where I was like, man, I would watch the second one right now. I want to see the sequel, the sequel that's coming out in theaters. Like I'm excited to go see it.
I watched the original, the one that you showed me the clip of many years ago.
Okay.
So much so that I forgot pretty much everything about it. And then when you showed me that clip, it all started flooding back to me about how bad it was, that it was so good. It was just, it's one of those it's so bad it's good movies, which I'm going to talk about in my segment.
No, you're not, because I'm talking about them at my segment.
No. It's a different sort of segment. You're fine. Don't worry about it.
And other than that, it was kind of the only movies I watched. I had a very busy last couple of weeks. Marco and I were traveling a whole lot for work.
Yes.
But I did.
I can't watch movies on the flight.
Nobody can hear you. You're not up by your microphone.
Oh, they can hear me, Greg. They can hear me just fine.
Anyways, I've been steadily watching New Girl. And then I also finished Game of Thrones.
There
I
it
had
is.
seen it before. And man, I think I'll probably have to leave another segment for another day where I actually dig into it. But man, that ending is bad. That is, it's already a show I wasn't a huge fan of just because of how egregious it was. Like I talked about in a previous show that there were really good elements of it. I don't think it is a complete series. I think it already had some problems going on with it in its moral ambiguity, but the ending was just atrocious. It took any characters that you did think were a little fascinating, that you're like, at least I can hold on to Tyrion Lannister, at least I can hold on to Varys, at least I can hold on to Arya Stark, or whoever. All of them, Jon Snow, they all are just like, and we're all of our character arcs were going this way, and they all just shifted for no reason. They're just like, and none of them are going to do the things they want to do. It's baffling. It will like leave you like, what? Why? Like Daenerys, crazy.
Why?
Jon Snow, irrelevant. Arya Stark, immortal. Brandon Stark, king of the Six Kingdoms.
Who has a better story than Bran the Broken?
Varys, burned to a crisp. Tyrion Lannister, no longer smart. Just what am I? I've been watching a million episodes of these things, and at the last minute they're like, yeah, none of those things happen. I'm like, this show already had problems with resolution that you never feel resolved in your feelings. Jaime Lannister, does he have a moral, redemption arc? Nope. Goes back to Cersei, dies with her. Okay. What? Like nothing. There's just not. The end of this show is. And I get it. I know it's not even worth saying because everybody's like, yep, we all hate it. People that love Game of Thrones hate it. People that don't like Game of Thrones hate it. It's bad. But man, was it just like
misery.
It just felt like somebody slapped me with a fish across the face. And we're like, you watched this show? You wasted that much time? And I'm like, hit me again. I
You
deserve
moron.
it. Anyways, that's all I've been watching.
Yeah, so obviously we watched the Mortal Kombats and Project Hail Mary. But what I've been watching is, so I just finished rereading, I read it like when I was in middle school. But just finished rereading Frankenstein by Mary Shelley.
Oh, yeah.
And, or Mary Shelley Wollstonecraft. So just finished reading by Mary Shelley. And so I decided, what I read in the book is so different from what I think of as the pop culture icon of Frankenstein. And so I was curious to see, how have the interpretations been done in cinema. And when I look up, movies about Frankenstein, and there's 10 trillion of them because he's, it's an interesting story and he's public domain. So I just chose the ones that are just called like Frankenstein, that are, just like trying to do a faithful adaptation of the book.
Sure.
So, I started with, there's actually a short film by Thomas Edison from 1910. It's like 10 minutes. It's on YouTube. Definitely worth a watch. It's super interesting what he was able to do when like they didn't do film stuff. Like it's pretty interesting. But the original Frankenstein 1931 and Bride of Frankenstein 1935, those two movies do go together. They're like immediately linked. Then there was a 1957 one with Peter Cushing. So Grand Moff Tarkin is Victor Frankenstein.
That's wild when you told me
Wild.
that. That's crazy.
1973 Frankenstein, 1994 Frankenstein. So those are the ones I've watched. Then I have a 2004, the 2025 one that just came out, and then Young Frankenstein because I want to watch something fun. So next time I'm going to be doing a segment on the adaptations of Frankenstein. They're really, really interesting in that they all are adapting it slightly differently, some wildly differently, but they're all definitively the story of Frankenstein. So it's really interesting. I think it'll be a fun little segment to kind of go through.
Yeah,
but
nice.
The other thing that I've noticed is I've enjoyed every single movie I've watched. They've all been good, and they've all been different.
You'll have to start watching the Fringe spin-off ones, and then you'll start being like, oh, these are bad.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I could watch The Bride and then shoot myself.
Oh gosh, I heard such bad.
I heard really bad reviews on that. But so for me, are you good? Anything else you've watched?
No, I've just been watching Frankenstein.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been on a little bit of a tear for feel good movies that I've watched many times before, but they're just really good.
So you watched Good Will Hunting again?
I did not. I've seen that recently. Not this past 2 weeks though. I watched National Treasures. The first one.
One's so good.
The first one is so good. I watched the Avengers, the first Avengers.
First Avengers
Very
is
good
great.
movie. Very good movie. Night at the Museum.
I liked the first one quite
It's
a bit.
great. I love
Never
Night
seen
at the
any of those
Museum.
movies.
Really?
Really.
I thought the first one was great.
Very good.
They fall
I've
off a
seen
little
bits
bit,
and
but
pieces. I remember there was one old security guard that would just be like, "You want to go, Lunchbox?" Like, that's all I remember is that he called him Lunchbox, and I was like, "That's kind of a funny."
was it the
thing to
second
say.
one where they have the parody of 300 where the little guys are just like chopping everyone? So I'm pretty sure it was the second one.
It wasn't the first one if they're chopping the heads off.
Not
No.
heads off.
Robin
they're, like,
Williams
stabbing
is made of
people's-
wax.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
remember that.
No, so the second one is like the Roman guy and Owen Wilson's character.
Yeah, that's the first one.
The tiny ones.
Yeah,
they're
well,
in
that's
the
the first
second one when they're chopping everyone's shoes up.
The Roman guy is Remy Malek, right?
Maybe.
Yes, I think so.
All right.
Yes.
Anyways, in the second one, it's like an homage. It's an homage to 300. They're doing like all these slow mo and like bits of rubber like flying and this again. Keep in mind, I'm in the theater with my family, and it's mostly an audience of small children who have not seen 300, and the parents who have also probably not seen 300. So the 300 slow mo part is playing, and I'm dying. I'm the only person in this entire theater, and I'm laughing hysterically. And then at the end, there's like another punchline, and then everybody else laughs, and I'm laughed out because I was laughing the entire time during the slow mo because I watched 300 recently, and I was crying, and I was the only person laughing.
That's so funny. The other movies I watched are obviously Project Hail Mary, which we'll get into. Castaway, very good movie.
I like that movie.
Yeah, Castaway is a really good movie. And then
It's a really good FedEx commercial.
My wife and I, we watched The Illusionist, which is also a very good movie. She had seen it. I had not. This was the first time I had seen that one.
Is it Adrian Brody? Because he's in all the movies that end in ist.
No.
The Pianist, The Brutalist.
It's
the guy from Fight
Edward
Club.
Norton. Edward Norton.
Okay.
But it's funny. That one came out the same time as The Prestige, and it's
Yeah.
it
It got overshadowed by The Prestige.
is just a better.
Which also,
you've never seen.
weirdly enough, I have yet to see that one either.
Oh, that's a great
It is
one.
on our
That's a
list.
good one.
We're just
I
kind of
see
waiting until it comes out on one of those streaming services, so we don't have to pay
You
for
know, I'm
that.
probably
see
going to go back and
Prestige.
rewatch just because. So I listen to video game music while I'm like video game soundtracks while I'm working because I have to have I have to have
No
like
words.
no lyrics. So it's either that or classical music. So I kind of flip flop between them. But I was listening to just like Sega Genesis soundtracks, and there were games for Aladdin and for Lion King, and I'm listening to music like, oh man, I want to go watch the movie right now. This is so good. Even in like chiptune format, it's just so good.
Nerd.
Yeah, huge nerd.
So anyways, that's what I've been watching. I've got a segment that kind of ties all that together. So there you go. That's what I've been watching.
Fun. All right, well, let's get into the biggest. It really has been the biggest talking point in movies over the last week or so, which has been Project Hail Mary. We all watched it. We all have our thoughts. So let's just start bringing that to the table. I'll start us off. I really liked the movie.
Yes.
I thought that, especially with today's day and age, like to have a movie that's fresh like this, that just felt like, all right, you're not a remake of He-Man or something. You're not just digging through old IP to try to find something to make a movie about. Granted, it was a book, but it's never been, and there's no adaptation of it. So it's a fresh idea. There was no cultural anything shoved down your throat. It's very fresh in the sense that it's just the movie. It just cares about being the movie. There's no like, well, there's global warming and that's why the Earth is. It's just
No, it was actually the opposite.
So very refreshing in that regard. And it's primarily a very heartwarming. It's really not like it is a space movie, but mainly it's about the relationship between
It's the friendship.
the main character and Rocky, which is the alien that he meets. And that is 70% of the movie, and it's kind of like the only part of the movie that really matters. Like, and it's excellent. Like, it's so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah, it was definitely like a buddy film, and they absolutely nailed it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But yeah, so it was funny because the whole premise is like, oh, the sun is dying and everything's cooling and it's gonna be terrible. I'm like, global warming has failed us. Just everyone is just like everyone get in your gas cars and pump out more emissions. We'll fix this problem. No problem. Yeah. We need to crank up our emissions. Damn it.
Apparently in the book, they nuke Antarctica.
Really?
So that they
Hell
can,
yeah.
so that they
America!
can warm the water, warm the earth a little bit. I was something I learned after the fact. I was doing some research on the book because I
So in this book, Donald Trump is clearly the president. We are going to nuke Antarctica. It's going to be one of the biggest nukes ever. Nobody has better nukes.
It's gonna be cold, gross, blow it up.
Fake news media says this is a bad idea.
Yeah. So one of the things that it took me about, I don't know, probably 10 to 15 minutes into the movie to like catch myself, because the first 10 to 15 minutes, I'm like, man, this is just not hitting for me. It really isn't.
It's slow start.
And I'll tell you why. I was thinking about it back and I was like, man, I kept in my brain, because I had just recently watched Interstellar. And I kept comparing it, kept comparing it, and it just wasn't
very
hitting.
different tone.
Once I turned that off,
Super different tone.
once I turned that off in my brain, I absolutely loved the film.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. It is phenomenal.
It's funny you bring up
Everything about it
Interstellar
is
because
so
the
good.
plot, like the basic plot, is almost identical.
It's almost identical.
Yeah, it's like you got to go out into space to figure out how to save Earth.
Yeah, Earth is dying. You got to go out into space to figure out. Here's this distant place that has the solution. You got to go get it.
And that is exactly why I kept, in the first portion of the movie, kept referring back to Interstellar. Oh, this isn't as good as Interstellar. It's not hitting because it's not Interstellar, and this and that. And that's why I kept. And one of the main things that I was telling my wife after the movie, we literally were walking to the car out of the movie, and I was like, I was so worried that the entire movie was just going to be quick wits and jokes that weren't hitting, and then I turned off that part of the brain, and I have no idea if it continued doing that throughout the rest of the movie, because I turned that part of the brain off and I was like, I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. And it completely changed and it was perfect. I really want to go back and watch it again so that I can get the first 10 minutes. Because like I said, the first 10 minutes, I was like, this is going to be a stupid movie.
If I was going to critique it, I would say that like the tone is pretty like, I never got the weight of like Earth is dying at any point. I was like, okay, it is, but like you guys are all cracking jokes. Like I'm not feeling the pressure of that at
I'm not
all.
feeling the tension.
Right.
And I think as a result of that, you're kind of like, at least for me, I was kind of irritated at all the people that were moving things around, like the woman and all the other. I was like, all right, guys, like calm the hell down. Like you guys, everybody's joking around. Like stop being like, I'm gonna force it or whatever. So I did think that the tone could have at times been like, because again, I think that you needed that for their relationship. Like that needed to be like Ryan Gosling's character just needed to be a goofy guy in order for it to work, and that's great. But I think the movie itself could have taken a more serious tone,
Especially in the first third.
Yes, all the stuff that happens at Earth, it needed to be, hey, this is really serious, and you're this goofy guy, and yes, we're dealing with your goofiness because you're a genius, but like. Everybody's taking it really serious, and you're coping with it by making these jokes and blah, blah, blah. But they had everybody around them start to like, the whole thing became a joke where she's like, hold on a second. Yeah, we've decided that you that would be better if you lived. And then she's like, oh, this and this happened. And they all look around. She's like, applause. And they're like, oh. like it's all very goofy.
Yeah,
like, it's
that
all
was
paid
a little.
for gags.
It was like weirdly goofy.
Yes.
And I think that first third would have been much stronger if they had him be goofy.
Yes.
And everyone else be like super serious, and that he's trying to cut the tension and it's just not working. And then they could have it like he makes a joke and finally like he connects with Carl. I think he could still like connect with Carl, and
Correct,
Carl's
yeah.
like, yeah, man, we need a little bit more
100%.
lightheartedness. Everyone here's
Yeah.
super serious, but
There's a difference
gotta
between
get
the tone
work
of a
done.
character, like a character's behavior, and then the tone of the whole movie. Like Harrison Ford as Han Solo, like he's always going to be trying to crack jokes in really heated situations. Like, we're going to be a lot thinner. Like in situations like that, they're going to have to get flattened. He's going to be that guy making those jokes. And the idea isn't, well, don't make him make those jokes. We want to take the scene seriously. The scene is serious. We just know that Han Solo copes with it by doing that stuff. So I think that you could have had Ryan Gosling still be goofy while everybody else is like, hey, dude, the world is ending. Like we need you to get and they were all just like, oh, good point. It is like that song that you say. Well, like what and I think the goofiness, and it didn't in any way destroy the movie. I thought it was a very good movie,
Yeah.
and I thought
it starts you off on the wrong foot.
It does because it doesn't start with Rocky, because as soon as his goofiness and the movie's goofiness collides with meeting and interacting with this alien, it's perfect. And you're like, oh, this is great. Like, it's so charming. It's so funny. Like the scene where he's walking onto the ship is hysterical. And all of it. I mean, and it even creates an emotional bond where you're sad when they're sad, and like the portion where he has to kind of sacrifice himself a little.
No spoilies.
What? It's fine.
Okay.
The movie just came
All
out.
right, hold
Do we
on.
wanna-
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler
For
alert.
this segment, we are
Spoiler alert.
Dumbledore dies. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, right? Like, come on, guys.
If you want to skip ahead and you haven't seen this movie yet, skip ahead to our next segment.
Which we definitely going to timestamp.
my overall thoughts, again, being that it's a very good movie because when they interact, the goofiness of the movie is fine. I think that the movie could have been better if it decided to like put effort into the other cracks of the movie that weren't just about the relationship. Like, again, the beginning part, I think that if the world was taking things a little more serious and he was just a goofy character within that, it would have made that better. And I think that if they had put some effort into, like, in my opinion, like, you know, Marco and I already kind of spoke on this and disagreed a little bit, but I didn't think that any of the visual spectacles were all that impressive. Like, I wasn't
Really? Because I thought it looked like the ship was like models and not CGI.
It's
by
that's
and large.
because it was.
And so I thought it looked great.
Yes.
Now keep in mind, I watched a Caribbean copy, so
well, it was just that, like, I wasn't blown away by any shot. I can't necessarily remember any big shots. Whereas if you're going to do a big movie,
how do you not remember the big, giant green planet that they got the life forms off of? That was
I didn't
visually.
Find that.
Greg's also colorblind, so it's like, what is this gray
eye
blob?
porn. Like, it was so good. I don't understand how. Like, with the red flakes going. Oh my god! You need to go watch it again,
because that was kind of looked like Avengers CGI. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot of colors and a lot of things, but it didn't look like. Like, in my opinion, there are space movies out there that are like, we are going to try to blow your mind with what you see in space. We're going to go out to space. You're going to come with us, and things are going to blow you away. And we're going to emphasize that and like put a lot of effort into that. Whereas this movie, again, and I don't think that it ruined the movie in any way, but I think that the movie just said, all right, well, let's get out here so that we can meet our character. And it was like, okay, let's just get through that. Okay, and there's a planet here. And I'm like, all that stuff looked fine, but I wasn't sitting there like, oh my god! I didn't lean back in my chair and go, "Wow!" Like, I'm in space right now. Like, none of the music did that to me. None of the visuals did that to me. And again, the movie was not about those things. It was about his relationship with Rocky and trying to solve the problem that they both had. And that part is excellent. And there's intrigue there to like how they're going to do it. There's a really big character reveal at the end, which I guess again we'll say spoilers, but this is really, in my opinion, the best thing that the movie did was leave it a mystery that he had not become a hero yet, that he had not made the decision to actually get on the ship yet. It does a really good, in the way that it tells the story, because it keeps flashing back, you get him returning to Earth because Rocky helped him, and then him realizing, oh, there's this thing that the hydrophage, astrophage is doing that Rocky's not going to...
Actually, it was the Talmoeba, but yes.
That Rocky's not going to know about, and I need to go back and save him, or I could keep going home. And you're like, oh, well, he'll go back and save him. But then it goes to the flashback, and you realize that he actually never even agreed to be on the ship in the first place. Like
He got shanghaied.
They forced him on. So he isn't a self-sacrificing person. He's not a hero. And you're like, oh, so this is a big moment for you. You haven't made this decision yet. And then he makes the decision to go back.
And they even emphasize that he's staying on Earth for purely selfish reasons.
Yeah.
Because they tell him, like, you have no family, you have no significant others, you're basically 100% alone. You don't even have any friends.
Yeah.
And we're asking you to save the entire planet. Like, what a noble thing to do. And you're going to sacrifice yourself, and no one else will be affected.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically like you're the perfect person to sacrifice yourself for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all these other people who are doing it, and they are noble. They're giving up families and children and things like that. And they're like, yeah, it's worth it to go save the Earth. And he has nothing, and he's so selfish. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And he's a coward.
The irony is that he does finally make the courageous decision, and then he does find community and family, and then he gets
cute.
really
The ending
plugged
was
in.
great.
Yeah, the ending was very cute.
Yeah.
But overall, loved the movie. Those were the things that I think it could have done a little bit better if it had said, hey,
it's
we're going to
just
put
that-
effort into all the surrounding parts around this really, really great, like, nebulous of like the nucleus of the movie is really, really good. But if they had put a ton of effort in the surrounding parts, really sold out, I think it could have been like S tier.
I thought visually it was very good.
I thought it was phenomenal. I don't understand what Greg was watching.
It's because he was thinking of
completely
Interstellar,
honest.
and he's got a big hard on for Interstellar. He can't think of any other movies.
Before we go off on other things, though,
no questions. No further questions.
I want to know, what about the science part of it? Like, how did that all work?
Okay, so
Wait. Yeah, go ahead.
So
Hit me with it.
I gotta find it. There we go.
It's science time with Nathaniel Levinson.
You should say Dr. Levinson.
Teach me,
Just kidding.
doctor.
So, anyways, brah. These are really dark and really smudgy. Thank goodness.
Thanks.
I'm sorry. I have a real thing about smudges on glasses.
Same. As a person who wears glasses.
I barely wear my glasses, but I just can't. I can't.
As a person who wears glasses, I respect the drip.
Much better.
Drippin' Door. Go to Dripper.
10 points to Drippendor. Hell yeah, brother. Anyways, so I thought it was it's pretty good. So it's interesting when he approaches, or when she gets approached by the doctor lady. I can't remember anyone's name.
German lady.
She mentions that he did a thesis. The reason he got kicked out of academia was he wrote a thesis about life not being based on water.
Right.
So he's like, why do we think that life needs to be based on water? So that is like a purely hypothetical. And people have also done like, oh, what if life wasn't based on carbon? As far as we know, water is absolutely necessary for anything to live. Now you can have like bacterial spores and things that can desiccate and basically go into hibernation for long periods of time, but they're not actively replicating or eating, so they're functionally in stasis.
Yeah.
They're not actually doing anything. So they require water to actually function. So as far as we know, water is like, honestly, a very unique molecule. It's got very, very unique properties. If you look at all the properties of water, they are very strange for a molecule of that size. And because of that, it can do all these things. It's absolutely crucial to any chemistry. And if you substitute that, so the closest substitution you could get to water would be hydrogen sulfide, which is you replace the O with an S, and that's like the closest thing you could get. And it can't do anything that water does. It's like completely different. You're completely changing everything. So in the same way that people have been like, oh, maybe you can get silicon-based life forms because silicon is like right under carbon in the periodic table, which means it has very similar properties. And the answer is like, no, silicon functions completely differently in organic in organic things. So it's a nice sci-fi idea, but it really doesn't pan out in reality. And you might say, oh, well, our knowledge isn't sufficient. Okay, yeah. Is there a chance that you could find something that doesn't like, sure, there's a chance that you could find literally anything.
The universe is huge, yeah. Who knows?
So
This is true.
there's a chance you can find literally anything. But with our knowledge of chemistry, like chemistry doesn't work differently on different planets.
Yeah.
So, the idea that, oh, maybe this thing could evolve without water is probably not true.
Well, and
Based
it's
on
not,
everything we know
in
about
the
how
movie
chemistry
too.
functions.
He
Gets disappointed because
yeah.
he's like, there is water, which does beg the question: how is it surviving on the surface of the sun, which is so hot that basically everything will break down into plasma, which is the fourth state of matter. So it's basically when you get so hot, all the chemical bonds break down, and the nuclei, which is protons and neutrons, and the electrons just kind of fall apart. So you don't have chemical bonds in plasma. So a cell couldn't, like nothing living could survive, and no water would be vaporized and turned into hydrogen, protons.
And the theory of the movie is that there's these microscopic life forms that can live on the sun, and
they're absorbing energy from the sun and then using it to procreate.
And they're procreating on Venus or something, right?
Yeah.
That's
and so they're like they're beaming back and forth between the sun and Venus, and so they're just harvesting energy from the sun. And again, I'm like, how much energy would they have to be taking from the sun to actually affect anything? It's one thing if it like formed a cloud that blocked light from the sun to Earth. I have no idea. Like, it's not like the sun is not a battery.
Yeah,
it's a fire. So like something standing near a fire doesn't affect the amount of heat that you're getting unless it's between you, like an eclipse.
Right.
That would be something. But it's like draining energy from the sun like a battery doesn't make sense to me. Now keep in mind, I'm not an astrophysicist. I'm a chemist. I did chemistry and biology. So, astrophysics was not my specialty, but I dabbled in all that stuff. What was really funny was, towards the end, they found, so the reason that the one star super spoilers. Reason the one star is fine is because the particular planet that the astrophage were reproducing on also had all these other life forms that were feeding on the astrophage. In other words, predating on the astrophage and keeping it in check. Which it's still draining power from the sun. But anyways, it's like
they're still heading there. They're doing that part where it eats it from the sun.
They're just there. Not. So and maybe it's explained better in the book. I do want to read the book, but what's interesting is the reason he runs into the issue where he has to go save Rocky is because the amoeba that eats the astrophage gets out of its container and gets into his fuel cells. And he's like, oh, because we grew it in this. And he's like, when he gets the first container from Rocky and he checks it and the thing says, it's xenon. He's like, that's BS. It throws it away because xenon's a gas. And it's a noble gas, which means it doesn't really do anything. And he's like, oh, they found a way to make some metallic xenon. Sure, maybe they found because there's metallic hydrogen, although it's not like a solid metal. But anyways, so hypothetically, you could get xenon to form this kind of container. Anyways, that I'm fine with that. But he said, oh, because we bred the amoebas in this xenonite container, it evolved to get out of these xenonite containers. That part doesn't actually make any sense. First of all, the time scale for that to happen is, and when they say evolve, like learning to do something is not evolution. So evolution is like you had a genetic mutation that so maybe the amoeba lost a gene that made the cell wall rigid, so it's less rigid and it can slip through smaller cracks. That would be like an evolution. But they just give one line like, it evolved to escape. That actually makes that is nonsense. And an evolutionary biologist would be screaming at their screen like, that's not how any of it works. So, but it leads to honestly, you could just say, oh, the amoeba can escape the xenonite and is getting to the astrophage. You didn't need to say it evolved to escape you could just say, oh my gosh, this amoeba can get out of this contraption we made for it. But I thought in general that, now I will say, so like in space, engines don't work the same. Propulsion doesn't work the same as the elements. So there's like this little thing where he's like moving his ship, and then Rocky moves his ship, and then he's moving his ship. When you accelerate, if you stop accelerating, you keep moving. You don't stop moving.
That was one of the specific parts that I thought looked really silly.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching, I was like, I thought it looked silly. I was just like,
also the whole centrifugal thing to make gravity.
Yeah.
That's like a hypothetically possible thing.
Right.
But the shape of they're just like spinning end on end. It's going to collapse towards the center. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to have something spherical, and the cylinder like rotates, and so then on the inside you can have. But it was just like this weird shape thing. It's just like flipping all over the place. I'm like, no, that wouldn't. Where are you on this ship? Because I don't think it's working the way you think it's working.
Yeah. I mean, gravity in space is always whatever.
So. And then Rocky. I think, and I don't know if they say this in the book, but my thought was that maybe Rocky is that H2O-less life form.
That's exactly It's maybe he's the example.
He's the H2O-less life form. So he mentioned that it's super duper hot, and the atmosphere seems to be ammonia.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? Again, there's some people like, oh, if other forms of life existed in the galaxy, why would they look anything like us? And part of it is because, there are limitations on what things can do. That's one of the reasons. Like the square cube law basically dictates like how big a creature can get before it collapses under its own body weight. So, yes, there could be things that we don't understand, but we know a lot about chemistry and biology and how these things function. And, we know that there are just kind of intrinsic limitations to how the laws of nature work. And they don't change. The laws of physics don't change because you're on a different planet. They're exactly the same. So that's what people seem to think, that you move to a different planet and, there's suddenly different conditions. Like, okay, the planet might have, a methane atmosphere instead of an oxygen atmosphere, but it doesn't change anything about how methane functions.
Right.
So, and this is why I get mad at sci-fi shows. I'm like, just say it's magic. If you say it's magic, I can't complain. Like the metallic xenon, right? They left it as a mystery. Like he's like, it's xenon, some sort of weird form of metallic xenon. I'm calling it xenonite. I have no idea how it works. That's fine.
Yeah.
Right. He said, they've figured out some way. This species has figured out some way to use xenon or, whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought that worked just fine.
Yeah. And I got a couple comments here, which actually I agree with wholeheartedly, which is there's a lot of science in Interstellar, but nobody really harped on it because Interstellar is so epic. It's so grandiose.
I did.
Well, and
I harped on it.
The other thing about it is that
what parts of it?
Oh boy,
the time travel library
All right,
gravitational wave thing.
Time travel aside, what other parts of the?
Can we? I'm just gonna not.
I'm sure there's plenty. I've only watched it once, so I'd have to think about it. But they did get the time dilation thing more or less right.
Anyways, as I was saying, the second comment was that Project Hail Mary was, yes, there was a lot of sci-fi, there was a lot of science involved in it, but it didn't bother us because it was essentially a tenth of the actual storyline, which is the friendship.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
99% of the movie is
what I said.
the friendship.
That's
right.
what I would say. The difference,
and I think everybody agrees with
the
that.
major difference between Interstellar and Hail Mary, even though they have like a very similar plot framework, is that Interstellar is about the problem and the solving of the problem.
Yeah,
and how that affects the crew, and Hail Mary is about the relationship and the encounter and the relationship between Rocky and on my balance, I like this better because I like the exploration, because the science is always going to be wonky. I think Interstellar is a great movie. I think it's a great spectacle. I think it kind of falls apart at the end. But Project Hail Mary actually makes me feel emotions, whereas Interstellar, not as much.
Didn't feel emotions in Interstellar?
What?
Oh my God.
I said not as much.
That is the biggest of hot takes ever.
I said not as much. I didn't say no. I didn't say I was like, beep boop, Matthew Broderick. I said I feel the emotions between the like of the building of a relationship much more than the.
I wouldn't even say that there's that. I think that Interstellar does build relationship. I would say that it's not as lighthearted.
It's not as lighthearted,
and but that's not even that's not even relevant necessarily.
His relationship with Murph is wild.
I think it's
hold on. I have a question, a legitimate question.
No,
you think that
wrong?
You think that the relationship between Murph and her dad is weaker than Rocky and Dr. Grace?
I'd have to rewatch Interstellar. It's been a while. I've watched it once.
Goodness.
Hail Mary is much more prescient in my mind. It's because I just watched it yesterday. So I'd have to rewatch Interstellar to think about that. But
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying in the sense that,
because to me, and I don't know who wrote Hail Mary, but Andy Weir is good at writing like human characters, whereas I think Nolan struggles with that. So I think I feel the emotional beats more. And again, you can say that the goofiness in the first third does detract from it. I think it does. But I think the last two thirds are really, really solid emotional, like beat after beat after beat, and a great character arc. I think Interstellar is a great movie, and I think it does have good emotional beats. But I think at least I'd have to rewatch Interstellar.
I think we should probably try to avoid.
You're over analyzing my
because we compare them.
They're different movies.
Yeah.
They're very different movies. Different things.
They feel very different.
And Interstellar feels more about the spectacle and the majesty of space. And Hail Mary feels more like an intimate romance. That was
my comment on it. Wasn't that you see Interstellar is good and this is bad. My comment was just if it took what Interstellar did and said, hey, on top of building a good relationship, we are also going to try to blow your mind with this very serious told story. We're gonna blow your mind with this is very different, but the visuals and the sound the soundtrack. Then I think it would have been it probably would have been stronger, but it didn't.
Interstellar 100% has a stronger soundtrack, but I mean, it's Hans Zimmer, so
That's the best score ever.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, but I do think it's
In
very
my
strong.
opinion, it is the best score
Second-
ever.
I don't agree with that, but I don't agree that your opinion is that you have.
Well, you're
that
wrong.
opinion.
So, anyways, that was one of the things that actually I said for Project Hail Mary. The score wasn't
It
there.
just didn't put much effort into it. Yeah.
I think that
I thought it suited.
it was
more or
okay.
less. It was
It
fine.
didn't.
But
Here's what it did. It didn't hurt the movie.
Yeah, it didn't hurt.
Period.
No.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's ultimately what it was.
Reinforced its carefree. I mean, a lot of the music was just kind of like, it was like poppy, like just modern songs that you'd hear.
And it was a mix. It was a mix between like regular songs and an actual like orchestra like score.
Yeah.
So it was a kind of a mix, which again, it did nothing wrong for the movie.
All right, we need to move on because we got many
Yeah,
other segments
sorry.
to go to.
Anyway, so that was Project Hail Mary. Overall consensus, that is very
Great
good
movie. Go
It's a
watch it.
very good movie. Go
Out of
and
10.
watch it.
Out of 10, Greg.
I'm gonna give it like a 7.5 to an 8 in that range.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8.
An 8 for you? I'm giving it a 9. I thought it was great. I thought it was phenomenal. I really want to go rewatch.
If the first third was stronger, I would give it a 9.
Fair. I want to go
the
rewatch
tone
it.
wavers.
Tiny bit lengthy too.
Yeah.
Tiny bit lengthy.
Honestly, I was not super bothered by the length.
It was just by the end because there was several moments where I'm like, oh, that's the end, and I was like, oh, that's so
You're
good.
right. It does kind of fake you out with the ending a couple
it fakes
times.
you out
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 times at the ending. You're like,
As far as I
oh.
understand, that's also then in the book. So they did a book adaptation for that. So it was a complete thing.
So I will say, so the version I was watching had Spanish subtitles, and when he says, what's the speed of light on Earth? There's say 186,000 miles a second, which is correct, right? It converted the subtitles had converted it to metric, 300,000 meters per second. I was like,
Wrong.
Hey, what do you know?
All right, so yes,
Or
folks,
it's 3 million.
go see
3 times
Project
10 to the
Hail
8.
Mary. If you haven't seen it, we're sorry that we spoiled it for you.
Yeah, no, 300,000.
And you can skip to this part. To not hear any more
Spoiler
about-
over. Spoiler over. We're back in, baby. It's
All
my
right,
turn.
Nathaniel
Now it's going to
is
get good.
to lead us with a segment.
All right. So I've been thinking about, because we watched Mortal Kombat, and I was
sure
thinking
did.
about,
Watch the hell
You
out
know,
of that movie.
we talk about, movie ratings out of 10. And it really just doesn't do a good job of capturing the movie, because there are movies that are well made that are just misery. And there are movies that are poorly made that are really fun to watch. And so I think the movie score line should be at least 2D, if not 3D. And you could probably add more dimensions to this. But I've come up with a little graphic or
I feel like
Who's that?
I feel like this deserves like game show music.
So I've just put it into a 2D.
Okay.
So you have a well-made movie in terms of like the technicals, the acting, the plot, the visuals, and shoddy, none of those things.
Yeah.
And this is where I say, like, because you could have
noticed the movies in the corners.
So you could have it could be a well-acted movie that has a bad plot.
Yeah.
So again, you could add more dimensions to this, but in general, it's well made, it's shoddy, it's enjoyable, it's misery.
Yeah.
And so I put a couple movies on the corners.
Yeah.
So like Lord of the Rings is super well made and great to watch.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 95, which you just watched, was really poorly made and super fun to watch.
Yeah.
Old Boy was a really well made movie.
Yeah.
Like from a technical standpoint. Miserable.
Yeah,
Just
horrible movie.
miserable. Awful. Joker 2 is both really poorly made in terms of the plot, the acting, just everything's bad about it, and it's miserable to watch.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 corners. So I wanted to, let's pick a couple movies. Where do these fall? Is there a bad movie you enjoy? Where would you put it on the spectrum? Is there a good movie you don't enjoy? Where would you put it on the spectrum? So let's put Project Hail Mary on here. Where would we put Project Hail Mary? I would put it in this quadrant. Well made and enjoyable, but not nearly as high as Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I would probably put it on that same
trajectory.
Trajectory, but maybe in the middle. Yeah.
I'd put it a little higher personally, but that's fine. I'm okay with that.
So Project Hail Mary. So Greg, think of a movie that you would put somewhere on this, and then we'll tell you why you're wrong.
Okay. I'm trying to think of movies I watched recently.
Marco, pick a movie.
Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme.
Okay, where would you put that?
Um.
Didn't that take you like 4 tries to get through?
Yeah, not enjoyable at all. Very.
But was it well made?
Yeah, I put it in the midline of well made. So yeah, over there.
Now, specifically for well made, are you Is this including the acting skills and things like that, or is it specifically the theatrics?
This is where it gets a little tricky because I would think
there are more categories for well-made.
I think this is where I think probably the best, without getting too complicated, is a 3D where you have well-made and shoddy on the technicals, and then you have well-acted and poorly acted.
Sure,
right.
But because I'm working in a 2D surface.
Heard. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Well, they're technically I do think that the story and the plot and the characters like
you can kind of work them all together to an average. Right. I think.
Okay, fair enough. Let's do since we've all seen it and I just watched it, is Castaway.
Okay. Where would you put that?
I would say it's well made, but not like to the point where it's the best thing ever. Right. So it's kind of in the middle.
It's enjoyable.
And it is enjoyable. Right. It would be, I would say, maybe a little less enjoyable than Project Hail Mary, but about the same. I was going to say about the same in terms of well made. Just because of the acting skills that were involved in that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's think of something that goes in this quadrant. Well made, but miserable. I would put The Brutalist on here.
Yeah, The Brutalist is fine.
Pretty well made and pretty miserable. So I would put The Brutalist like.
Nosferatu is flirting with that line also.
Yeah.
Where it was like, wow, it was really well made. I don't know. It's not my kind of movie. It was weird.
But I also wasn't like, I despise this. So
it's
I would
true.
Like,
but you don't have to despise it. That's why I say closer. It'd be flirting with that line of, I think we all recognize that it was very well made, but it was none of our cups of tea. Like we were all like, eh. Yeah.
All right. What about The Misery and Bad Made?
Gosh, we have so many to put
I think and Natural Born Killers.
Natural Born Killers is there. 100%.
TLJ.
They're all at the bottom there.
Yeah.
Can we think of anything that's like in this quadrant?
Oh, the thing is though, it's like if we hate it, we shove it down there, man. There's no. I mean, The Brothers Grimm is like
that was
not a well-made movie, and it's not a very fun watch.
But it also wasn't like just
miserable. It wasn't the worst.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to find things that aren't that far, but that are still.
Four Brothers would go into the next one over.
Four Brothers would be over there.
Yeah.
Where it was not a good movie, but kind of fun to watch.
I agree.
What a wild.
What about down here? What are the movies that you're like, this is a terrible movie, and I just eat it up? I love it.
Surf Ninjas.
Brother Marco.
Okay,
we have to watch this with Marco.
You are required to watch Surf Ninjas. It is a family movie. To give you an idea, I can.
It's about Surf Ninjas.
Literally quote the entire thing, and it will be incredibly difficult for me not to quote the whole thing when we watch it.
With you or away from you?
You know, here's the thing. I want to watch it with you because I want to know your reactions right there, and I will do the best I can.
Let's do it
with a gag.
Let's do it soon because here's another thing. I have a signed copy of the DVD.
It was like the only one ever signed. The guys are like, really? You want my?
So, anyways, I bring this up to say that, you know, one of the reasons why I always have such a hard time when you're like, oh, what would you give it as your Rotten Tomato scores? Because
that's fair.
There's just more to a movie than just like, is it good or bad? And my dad was even like, yeah, you know, it's entertainment, so good or bad is ultimately. But so I think saying it's well made and shoddy, that's a more. This is the objective angle, and this is the subjective angle, and so. You know,
we're picking on ones that we agree for the most part, but even with like
the
Project
up and
Hail
down
Mary,
would probably be more or less.
Yes,
we can always agree that okay, it was this well made, this poorly made.
Sure.
Whereas Liam would be over here for Old Boy, and he'd be wrong. But
what an idiot,
what a moron. We can disagree on this. So I don't know how now you math people out there.
Math.
I know there's a way to like assign a score to a 2D plane and even a 3D plane. So if you can find a way to do this, let me know, and I would love to like put together.
ChatGPT.
I'm sure we can.
I would love. This would be a fun little project to put together. Like, how can you do like a 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional score that that gives you kind of an idea of
subjective
movie,
versus objective.
Yeah, this movie is good, or this movie is super enjoyable, but maybe not so well made. This movie is so if you only care about technicals, you probably won't enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
Or like this movie is really, really well made, but it's absolutely miserable to watch. Well, if you're into that sort of miserablest, super bleak, super nihilist movies, you might enjoy this because it's really well made.
Yeah.
So this is my proposal for, and again, this is the simplified version is that, just giving a number score, I just don't think is very helpful.
Yeah.
So I propose we move to something like this when
I
we're
think
we're rating movies, rather than leaning into the out of 100 I would give it this.
And I think that
Thinking about it in this way more.
because typically when the number comes, I try to think of the up and down one.
Right.
I try to think of that
Right.
regardless.
And I try to think of this more.
Right. And because for me, that subjective is going to wane. There's going to be ones that I really, really hate and ones that I really, really love. And sometimes it doesn't have to do with the specifics of it. And it's true. I'd be lying. Like, I know I'd probably try to argue that, that doesn't influence me, that I'm purely about, but I'm sure it influences it. Like I would have a hard time. Even now, I'm like, Old Boy isn't that well made. Like Brutalist isn't that well made, but maybe that's just because I hated them.
I mean, but I think you look at Brutalist and say it was beautifully shot.
Yeah, and it's
It
well
did
acted.
it was well acted. It did exactly what it
wanted to do.
It completed exactly what its intentions were.
Yes.
Now those intentions were miserable, but it did exactly what it
And I guess
set out to do.
part of
Same
me,
with Old Boy.
even from a technical standpoint, would be like your story still has to hit and make sense. And if your story is absolute bull crap, like it's just terrible, then
Again,
I
but
have to take points off.
and I'll get back to that. That is not as it is objective.
You're
It-
right.
yeah,
You're right. Yeah,
but
it's
it
a
is
little more-
objective.
But it is objective. However, people don't agree on if that's objective or not.
Well, they're wrong.
No, I completely agree. They're wrong.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that in my soapbox.
Okay.
So
Yeah, no, I think this is a very fair. It's funny. I was just thinking. I was just fiddling around with an AI. We're just poking around with using different AI systems than ChatGPT for our company, and one of them, it has the ability to. It's a paid one, but you can basically just say, "Hey, I want to make an app that does this, 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 and that," and it'll actually you can watch it.
code it.
Yeah, it'll sit there and open up pages and start coding, and it'll do it for you. You can go and do things, and you come back, and then it's like, hey, I've finished the app, and you can click on it, and if there are bugs, you can just tell it, hey, there. But it would be cool to say, hey, I want a movie rating system that has these 3 dimensions, and maybe even tell it more dimensions, and then you have a pin basically you could put in on your phone like that's like the movie title or something, and stick it in different areas, and then you could be like following your friends, kind of like Letterboxd, but with a better rating system. That'd be kind of cool.
It would be interesting.
Maybe if we get that one, we'll have to do that as a test
Yeah.
run.
I
And
think
maybe
it's
it's
fun.
something like if you've seen the the pentagons or the hexagons where there's like the power levels and it's got like speed and
Yeah.
style and things like that, and so it's got you could
drag
be
him
like,
and then
it
it
could be
gives you
something that's
final
really
rating.
imbalanced, or
Yeah.
it could be something that's really well balanced but
Sure.
not as filled out.
Yeah.
So workshop that. But what made me think about this was watching Mortal Kombat 95, being like, this movie's trash, but I'm loving it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to watch, and
it-
I would absolutely watch it again.
We had a ton of fun for a lot of. I mean, just yeah.
And it was so nice to watch a movie that's not a good movie and not just be like, oh, well, I don't want to watch movies anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
It probably helps that I think something that if that movie was acclaimed as being like this masterpiece, I would be like, what are people talking? This is a joke. But it helps that everybody's like, yeah, this is a joke of a movie. It's like a 23 on whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is great.
Yeah, it was
I'm
great.
loving it.
And another, another part of it is that as bad as it was at least earnest, and earnestness is always more palatable than cynicism.
Sure.
All right,
Yeah.
that's it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Marco
My
Brutus.
segment is actually very similar, which is
Which means you
hilarious.
can't
And it
have it.
actually
Moving
works
on.
out super nicely because it kind of segues right in. So here's my segment. We're going to talk about movies in specific categories.
Okay,
One of which we've already talked about, which is
is
they're
this what I
so
need
bad
this
it's
for,
good.
or is this your second?
Nope,
thing?
that's the final game.
Okay.
This is the so bad it's good category. So we already talked about that. So I'll kind of skip by that. But the idea here is, as you said, it's objectively a bad movie, but it's still a very good movie, if you know what I
Yes,
mean.
yes.
It's so bad it's good. The other ones that are on the list are movies that you could put on in the background. And what I mean by this is, and this I was thinking about it as I was watching National Treasures.
Yeah.
This is a movie that
It's just National
is-
Treasure, yeah?
It's National Treasure.
Yeah, it's just National Treasure. Singular.
Singular.
Okay.
Sorry, I keep. Anyways, point is,
Sorry.
it is one of those movies. National Treasure is one of those movies that is phenomenal to put on in the background while you're cleaning your house. You can pay attention to it enough to get the fun and exciting bits out of it, but you're not paying so much attention that you're getting the weird tropes about it that you're like, yeah, it didn't really fit.
The
or
weird Nicolas Cage
the
moments.
Nicolas Cage moments. You know what I mean?
like, we gotta steal a decoration.
Right. It's one of those, and it's one of my favorite types of movies. Is just a movie that you can just slap into the background when you're doing something completely different, and you're not. You're not truly paying attention, but you're still watching it. You know what I mean? It's that type of movie, and I love those movies. I think that is an underrated category when it comes to movies. National Treasures is on there. Night at the Museum is another one, which weirdly enough, I watched both of those this week. So really
Nice.
funny. Movies that are solo casted is another category that I was watching.
do you mean by
and by
solo
solo casted, meaning what I mean by that is 80 to 90% of the movie
So like Castaway,
is
it's just
one
one guy.
character.
Yeah.
Castaway is a great option. I Am Legend with Will Smith, phenomenal movie. Not the biggest fan of Will Smith, but
I
overall,
love
very
Will
good
Smith.
movie.
Phenomenal actor.
Right, phenomenal actor. Wally, again, not a big fan of the movie,
Oh, I love
but
Wally.
Wally was the only character for like
What about
50+% of the
Eva?
movie.
And then all the chunky humans.
Yeah, which I found very interesting. Movies that here's the next category: movies that you can put on at any point in the movie and just continue watching. These are really fun, and these are the ones that you always see on TV. Con Air. That's one that you can literally just turn on at any point of the movie, and you just continue watching it, and it's great. It doesn't matter. You don't have
It's
to
such
have
a dad
that,
move
that
to
10%.
to walk in,
Yeah.
something's halfway over, and you're like, huh? You just sit down.
That's a Damien move.
It's a
Yeah,
Damien
it's
move.
true.
Come in.
It's true.
It's a TV show that you've never seen,
And
and
then
it's
you
the
go,
12th episode,
nope.
and you just sit down,
Yeah,
And I'm
watch
out.
the rest of it.
Yeah,
Just
it's such an underrated category for a movie, in my opinion. That a movie that you can just turn on at any point in the movie and just continue watching. Jurassic Park, in my opinion, it's another one.
Jurassic Park's awesome.
It's great. It's a great series, or it's a great movie. That particular one, because you can just turn it on. You could turn it on with 10% of the movie left and still enjoy it.
And most of the other ones would probably be better turned on halfway through. So, Alan,
And then you turn it off.
Obviously,
Alan.
here's the category that we already talked about, the so bad it's good category. I have my Surf Ninjas on there, obviously. Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal.
it's called Kazam.
It's about him being a genie.
It is
And there's like a Sega Genesis movie
so
about
funny.
game.
It is so
I
funny.
remember
Yes, there is an old.
I remember only one part about that. I rented it when I was a very little kid, and I just remember one part where he's like going to a fight, and he's like, "My heart's beat." He's like, "Your heart's beating," and he goes, "Pounding," and I was like, "Is pounding more than beating?" And it was like stuck in my head as a kid forever. Like, pounding means more than
Pounding
beating.
is more than beating.
And then that was the only takeaway I had from the whole movie. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Shazam is on that
well,
list.
I mean, I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna pound you up. Which one's more? I mean,
I don't know, that's weird.
yeah, it got weird real
It's
fast.
weird.
so.
I don't know. Anyways,
Although
pounding, kids.
beating and pounding can have the same.
Carolina
connotation.
Panthers slogan is "Keep pounding,
beating.
keep pounding,"
beating.
and then they have their "Keep Pounding Children,"
No.
and I'm like, "Who is your PR person?" and fire him.
Yeah. What is it? What is it? Check him. What? Check him internet or check him browser.
Yeah, check him on your browser.
Yeah. The other movie that I have in there is the so bad it's good category is Brink, the old Disney movie.
Oh my god,
I've never heard of this.
good.
When you say Brink, I
Dude.
think Brink Home Security.
dude! I had to like. There's this. So I used to work for a video production company in Miami, and
They made you watch Brink every day.
we had a once a month activity that we did. One was like a go out, actually pay for, and then one was like it was always just like a movie night. Like it was like a very cheap but the company would cover it. And so everybody put movie ideas into a box, and it was like literally like we reached in and picked one out. And I remember being so stoked. I'm such a movie guy. Most people, in this video, but they just shove in all these Disney Channel originals, and the first one gets pulled out is Brink, and I'm like, what the hell is a Brink?
Never heard of
And
this.
they're all so hyped. Like there's like the nerdiest kids. Like man, it was the nerd. We had the weirdest coworkers.
It was a sitcom.
Hi.
It was a
High School
weird place to
Musical.
work. And so we turned this Disney Channel original movie on that's so unbelievably cringy and bad that I'm like,
What is it about?
it's about roller skaters.
Oh.
He's like, oh dude, you
You've
got to
already lost
come to
me.
like. All I just remember is there's a villain, and he's got this like super high receding hairline. He's like a high school bully, and he's like, all I know is that if you guys make it to the tournament, it's open season on your butts. And I was like, and I lost.
Is he
And I
gonna?
saved the line "open season on your butts" and had it as a soundbite in the office, and I would
There's
just
such a
I would
good-
just
I
play-
gotta look it
play
up,
the
but
soundbite
there's-
on your butts.
open season on your butts.
There's such a good.
he says it like such a
Yeah.
dork too. It's so bad.
There's
man.
there's
That movie
a part in the movie, and I'm gonna look it up while I continue talking. But it's there's a hairline. It's circular on the guy's head. It's so good. Hairline from Brink. And I'll bring it up on the screen. But yeah, I'll go to the next one. But it's so funny. The next category is going to be movies that don't really have a ton of substance, but they're super fun to watch because they're just theatrical. Basically, popcorn movies.
Interstellar.
No, go away.
I just said that to make
Go
Greg really
away.
angry.
No, wrong.
No.
Wrong.
just bad. The Avengers.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of the
Avengers,
Marvel movies fall in that category.
The first Fast and Furious. After that, it gets a little weird. But
Fast and Furious are definitely in the
We've
so bad it's
watched
good
all
cat-
of them. It gets weird.
Yeah.
Brother, it gets weird.
It definitely it flows around from all on the bottom line of either like I didn't like that and it was bad, or I liked it and it was still bad.
So you know the guy from Tokyo Drift,
Potato guy.
yeah. So my brother Ethan just started calling him the potato because he's like, "Who is this potato man?" So he's like, and he comes back later. Ethan, like in Fast 8 or 9, they just like walk in and like, "Hey," and he's like, "Oh, hey y'all," and Ethan's like, "No, it's the potato." He's on NCIS New Orleans, and my dad is always pretty much anytime my dad is watching TV, it's NCIS or some spinoff of NCIS, and so I walk in and I look over, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's the potato," because he's on NCIS New Orleans.
it's so funny.
Yeah, that series is funny.
All right. Here we go. Hold on, I gotta change the screen. The other ones that were on that list were the Fast and Furious and Avengers, but I just found the video of this guy's hairline, and it is so good.
Yikes!
That's so good. That kid with the hair that you see first. Wait, not that before this kid. This kid, that kid on the right,
Dude,
with the
it's
black
so
hair, is like
funny.
the main villain. Says "Open season on your butts."
It is so funny.
Oh,
What a
Disney
trash
Channel.
movie.
I remember watching like what did I watched like a handful of Disney Channel things, but I never watched any of the movies. I watched Even Stevens, and I watched the one where Shia LaBeouf is mentally retarded, but I don't remember the name of that one.
But anyways, that's my series. That's my segment. Just different categories that kind of get under the radar. These little subcategories
So were you
that
going to
are
ask
for
us
movies. It's so good.
to offer?
I mean, I was going to, but we're already kind of running late. It's already 8:30, and we still need
so
to
you
get
just
through
wanted to
everybody.
monologue. I see how
So-
it is.
Yeah, there you go. That's my segment.
Well done. All right, so I am going to do a soapbox special.
Hey,
Hit me with the thing.
You gotta give me some warning here.
I did text you ahead of time. I'm like, I'm going to be
My
doing a soapbox
goodness.
special.
No, you just said I'm going to talk about movie trailers. You did not say.
I said soapbox
I'm
special.
Pretty sure you didn't.
You're pretty wrong. I can pull it up right,
All right.
now.
Well,
You're
here.
illiterate.
All
You
right.
wouldn't
You
know.
ready? Here we go.
Tonight, we make soap.
It's a box. Soapbox
Hail Mary
special.
and a soapbox special on movie trailers. Bam. All right, so I am going to do. I'm going to get up on my soapbox and talk a little bit about movie trailers because I think we all know they suck now. And why the crap do movie trailers suck so bad now? So movie trailers originally. So we're going to rewind and give a little history here on movie trailers. So movie trailers initially were called trailers, not because they wheeled them in on a trailer. It's because they used to trail the movie at the end. At the end of the movie, the first ever movie trailer was after a movie. They showed a whole bunch of clips from a stage play that they were advertising for because they used to just use posters, and it was just a couple of recordings of them going through rehearsals in this stage play, and that was it. And then they had again a big word slapped onto the screen. It said, "Come to this," whatever. And so they turned into, okay, well, these are previews. This is a preview for whatever thing we're promoting. Alfred Hitchcock was the first one to be like, hey, I personally wants to like put effort into the trailer that I make, and I want to advertise it. Like he's kind of like the first one when he made Scream and these other movies to basically.
You mean Psycho?
Sorry, Psycho.
I was like, he didn't do Scream.
Psycho and these other movies, and was like, I have an idea for what the trailer should be like. And so that's when trailers started becoming far more fascinating. And then from there, people. Sorry, excuse me. People started getting the idea of teasing their movie. This is the idea of teaser trailers came out. And this is where, honestly, the biggest hub of like the memory of really good trailers exists in this category. So you think of movies like Alien, like when Alien first came out, the trailer is like super ambiguous. You don't really know what's going on. It's really creepy. There's a few flashes of different images in the movie. And then at the end, it has this quote that says, "In space, no one can hear you scream." And it's the spaceship floating away. And it's like, that's it. And everybody's like, oh, what the heck is that? And Matrix did a similar thing where it has this very high action, powerful trailer. And at the end, it's like, you can't be told about the Matrix. You have to experience it. And it left what the Matrix was a complete mystery. So it's just, all right, what these people are like, punch, punch, kick, kick, shooting, but like they keep talking about the Matrix. We don't really know what that is. And it's like, it can't be, you've got to experience it. And it built up a ton of intrigue for the movie. Things like The Social Network, Cloverfield, Star Wars Episode 3, these come to memory for me as being excellent trailers. Why? Because they spent the majority of the time not revealing elements of the movie, but doing creative things. So like the beginning of Social Network, you get it's a rendition of Creep by Radiohead. It's an opera. It's a choir singing it. But the first 25, 30 seconds is just a mouse sliding it around on a screen, clicking on things and interacting with Facebook the way that you would. And this is when Facebook was the thing, that there was no anything else. So at the peak of Facebook, a movie came out about the creator of Facebook. So it was excellent timing. But the whole beginning of the trailer, you're just hearing this music and you're just seeing clicking, changing status, relationship status change. Somebody likes a picture. So it's doing all these things that you're like, oh, I do all these things. And then it gets into a very brief portion of the movie. And it just kind of flashes it really quick with one little monologue and then the movie's over. It doesn't really reveal much of anything, which is an excellent trailer. Cloverfield, a very similar feel. If any of you guys remember the trailer to Cloverfield, it's excellent. So Cloverfield is a found footage movie, which means it's done on a hand camera. And the trailer was this hand camera bouncing around a party, interviewing people. Hey, whatever the guy's name is, Jason's leaving, so you want to give him a message like, oh, bye, Jason, we love you, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, there's like an earthquake type thing, and they're kind of freaked out. They run up to the roof, and they're looking around New York, and they're like, what the heck's going on? And then there's an explosion, and the pieces of the explosion are slowly heading to them, and they're like, get down, and they start running through all the hallways, down the stairwell, and then trailer cuts to black. It says Cloverfield, whatever, and at the very end, it shows a clip where they're in the street, and the head of the Statue of Liberty just goes flying by and screeches along the ground, and then the trailer ends. And you're like, what is this movie about? It was so mysterious, nobody had any idea, and it built a ton of intrigue and was an excellent trailer. Star Wars Episode 3, another great example in that it starts off, and the whole beginning portion is a monologue from Obi-Wan Kenobi in Episode 4, playing old Star Wars music while showing clips from all the old episodes that have already existed for the first 25 to 30 seconds. And so a large portion of the trailer isn't revealing anything, but it is building up excitement for the trailer. So it's accomplishing that part without revealing anything, and then it previews it in a very small way. That's how trailers used to be, and they were excellent. To bring this full circle with National Treasure 2 came out, and it came out the day after I saw the first preview for Star Wars Episode 3, and I went home and I was like, Dad, we need to go see National Treasure 2. And I convinced him so bad. He's like, all right, I guess it's an all right movie, but yeah, we can go. And it was secretly just because I wanted to see another trailer for Star Wars Episode 3. I was so hyped about it. But the thing that's happened now is that the movie creators don't make their trailers anymore. They hand them off to marketing companies. And the marketing company is like, okay, we're doing our job if we get people engaging with our trailers and if we get people to come to the movies. Instead of being like, we need to build some intrigue, it is our job is to advertise for it. It's not a preview for a movie. This is advertising. And we're not getting paid if we're not doing our job. And so they do test runs and all these different things to the point where they're like, oh, we're not getting the clicks that we want. We're not getting the engagement we want if we don't reveal the big things in the trailer. If there's not a viral moment that happens in the trailer where, oh my gosh, we saw Green Goblin in the new Spider-Man movie. In the trailer, you get Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin in the trailer. And it's like, all right, well, now that there was all this kind of whispering about maybe all the Spider-Man will come back, but now you're kind of revealing that that's definitely going to happen. And then in the second trailer, it was now you see Dr. Octavius in the trailer. And it's like, those have been great reveals in the movie. I mean, imagine that. And so many movies are taking this route now. And Project Hail Mary is one of those where it kind of reveals, at least to me, I saw Rocky before the movie started, and I saw that interaction, and I had no idea that was what the movie was about. I thought it would have been much more fascinating if I was like, oh, he's going to go try to solve this problem, and oh, he runs into an alien? Oh, this is really charming. Whereas I already knew, it was like a pregame thing for a basketball game, and it was like, hi, I'm Ryan Gosling, and it was like, and this is Rocky, and I was like, what is that? The movie? Am I seeing? And I was so disappointed. But it's really it's been ruined by the machine that movies have become. The machine of we have to put so much money into creating this movie that we have to make sure we get a return on it. Because if we fail now, it's not like failing before where you lose a few $1 million.
It's weird because we keep saying that, and yet they keep getting flop after flop after flop after flop, and no one gets fired.
Well, the big ones that can handle the flops do, right? Disney, that's just a money machine, could do whatever they want. So they have a flop of a movie and they're like, yeah, we don't care. Like we're just made of money. Whereas the smaller production companies that are able to take risks and create new ideas aren't able to do these things. And none of the production companies want to take risks on them like they used to. And it's sad because it has become this churn out machine type thing. And also the last thing about trailers that have really changed is that they're not made for theaters anymore. Trailers are being engaged with on social media and YouTube more than anything. Like, when's the last time that for the first time ever, saw the trailer in the theaters? Most of the time you're catching it on YouTube.
No, most of my trailers I see, I don't look at trailers. I don't care. Well, mostly because they spoil movies now. And so
for me, they pop up on my YouTube feed mostly. It's
sure, but I almost never click on them unless it's a movie that I already know I'm going to go see.
That's fair, and I don't always either. But at least like that's where I'm noticing. Oh, hey, look, there was a new trailer for that, and especially when I'm making these, I see them pop up. I'm like, there's a new trailer for whatever it is. But because that's the target, there's a whole different metric that these marketing companies are taking and how they design the trailers to, again, be, well, they're going to be swiping by. They're not sitting in a theater and be able to sit through this whole thing. We have to catch their attention right away. So let's push all of the important stuff to the first 2 seconds of the trailer, because now our metrics are showing better and we're getting more engagement, which means we're going to get more people to theaters and we're going to get paid more. And it's lifeless. This is why you get to the movie theaters and there's not the big shock all moments. And in my opinion, it's super disappointing because I think that trailers are one of the most interesting parts of a movie. I mean, I think that intrigue will sell me. I will 100% be sold on a good trailer where I'll be like, that's cool. I'm seeing it. You already sold me. I think that that's really cool. As far as a solution, what I think that the method moving forward should be is that you have trailers that are clearly labeled, right? Because we currently have, this is the teaser trailer released or whatever. But I think it should be like, in the trailer, it's like announced at the beginning that this is a teaser trailer. And in those teaser trailers, it's exactly that. It just teases the movie. You do something that's really creative, but you don't give away hardly anything. We just want to kind of give the feel of the movie out there and what kind of movie it is. Great. Like, I would only, if that was the case, I would only engage with the teaser trailers, and I would never look at anything else, literally ever. If I loved it, if I hated it, wouldn't matter. I would only engage with the teaser trailers, and that would tell me more than any critic online, more than anything, that teaser trailer would tell me whether I'm going to watch the movie or not. It'd be perfect. And then you would still, because again, I know that the marketing people out there are like, oh, well, this works. This gets people to theaters. I'm like, yeah, but it tears the movie down to a point where it's not even enjoyable. You still create your marketing, monstrous, giveaway everything trailers. And if people want to engage with those, great. And you label them as such. Hey, this is the special clip trailer or whatever. Go engage with that one. That's like the only solution I can think of. Otherwise, I just think the movies are just slowly becoming less interesting to go and see. Like the hype to go see them just isn't there. Maybe you'll get around to seeing a movie, but there's very little urgency, in my opinion, ever to go and see a movie anymore. Mainly because I'm like, maybe I'll want to see it, but I've already kind of seen it. I already know exactly what happens, but maybe I'll go and spend the time to actually watch it at some point. But the trailers just ruin it for me. So that's my soapbox about trailers.
Yeah, I mean, I actually completely agree with you. I think that the most recent trailer that did a good job is Dune Part 3. Because I didn't get anything out of it. I got absolutely nothing out of it.
I thought that was maybe a little too much on the vague side, because the thing is, we already know about, it's not like it's a fresh thing. We know what Dune is about. So that trailer literally just said, hey, we're going to make another Dune movie. So
but isn't that
it's
all
a balance?
they
No.
or no?
It's a balancing act, because, okay, what story is left in the Dune saga? You got to hint at that.
Sure.
And so I was talking to Greg. I think that trailer should have referenced, because it's going to be about the prophecies about Lisa Nakaib. And so they should have basically had the voiceover or like referenced the prophecies that were being made and showed Paul. So they could have had all the same footage, but just had a voiceover that talks about those prophecies and say like, hey, that's where the story's going. We got to explore whether Paul fulfills the prophecy or not.
And
that doesn't actually spoil anything. It just tells you,
no,
this is where we're heading.
And it's about being creative in it because that reminds me of the Star Wars Episode 3 trailer that I referenced earlier. Was that the Obi-Wan's monologue that's going on is him talking in Episode 4 basically about his past, but his past is what you're seeing in the prequels, because he's like, this was like your father, who was once a cunning warrior and a good friend, was seduced and betrayed, and Vader killed your father. Basically, he's giving the whole story of Episode 3, but it's already something that you've heard a million times because it's from an old movie. So it's not spoiling anything, but it is refreshing you as you see these tiny little clips
and reframing it as
this. Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is going to be his story. This is like he's basically
we're going to see how this all went down.
Yes, but it was done so great because again, nothing could be spoiled. These are lines from a different movie that you've already seen. But it did. You are right.
Exactly.
It did paint the picture of what the movie's going to be like.
So to me, it's like the difference between, here's the picture of the thing you're going to see. Like imagine a bakery, right? Here's the photo of the bread. It gives you nothing. You say, okay, here's what it looks like. I guess the tone of it, versus like, oh, you can smell the bread.
Yeah.
And you can imagine what it might taste like, but you don't know until you actually go bite into it.
Yeah.
Versus them handing out samples, and you can immediately decide, oh, I do want this or I don't want this, which is what trailers are now.
And M. Night Shyamalan did a really...
Not that I'm saying you shouldn't hand out samples. For food is a very different story.
Give food away. M. Night Shyamalan did a really good trailer of Unbreakable when it came out. Unbreakable was the story of Bruce Willis basically being like a superhero, but he doesn't know it. Like, but he's secretly he's like indestructible. And
he's unbreakable.
It's a really cool story. But the trailer is just him at a hospital, and it's silent. All you hear is the beeping of a person on life support, like deep. And it's a doctor walking up. He's going, "Hey, how do you feel?" And it's him talking to Bruce Willis. And Bruce Willis is sitting up, just kind of shaking his head, and he's like, "I'm fine." And he's like, and he's asking him all these questions, and then he goes, "Why are you looking at me like that?" And he's like, "Well, for one, you were just in a train wreck, and there's not a scratch on you." And he's like, "And two," and then like the life support starts like hits 0, and it's just and you kind of in the foreground there's a body kind of shaking. And he's like, "2." And he looks over and he's like, in just a matter of moments, it'll appear that you're the only one that's survived. And it's just like, and that's it. That was the trailer. It was just that scene of the movie. And you're like, oh, shoot, what is this even going to be about? Like, it's just this, like, how did this guy survive? Like, what? And the movie is great, but that was enough to suck me in to be like, I remembered that trailer.
It doesn't take a lot.
Yes.
I think Dune was a little too far on the side of not giving me anything. It didn't build any intrigue for me. I'm like, oh yeah, he's still Lisa Nagaib. I don't like. Well, and just no hint.
And from what I understand, what I remember, there's no dialogue, right? It's just him chanting in a different language. Are there any dialogue? Because the dialogue points I think are helpful. Because you can have a line that basically just says, "Hey, this is what the movie's going to be about." Doesn't give anything away. Like that portion of dialogue in Unbreakable,
here's something to build.
Is the intrigue of the whole movie? It is. Why is it that you survived and everybody else died? And he's like, I don't know. I'm kind of freaked out. That tells you what the movie's going to be like. That is an accurate depiction, but it didn't give anything away. Whereas in Dune.
There is a scene. There's a little bit short of dialogue. Scene where Zendaya and Shablagoo talk for two sentences or
so
3
sometimes
sentences.
Those help.
There's
obviously,
not much,
in just saying something like, "Hey, I'm not sure what I'm going to do about X, Y, and Z," and it's like, "Well, you're going to have to figure it out." And then that at least tells you, "Oh, this movie is going to mainly be about his story and trying to figure out X, Y, and Z."
Yeah,
and it doesn't need to be much. It doesn't need to give away a lot. But you are right. Like I think that's
I think it was a little
worth
too far on the not giving you anything other than saying, "Hey, we're doing another Dune movie," which great, but unless I'm like super duper invested in the Duneverse, that's not hooking me.
All right, Nathaniel.
It's a fine line. All right, so I want to talk about something. So, the reason I thought about this topic was because I was watching a really, really long video about the video game series BioShock. And the first BioShock is an excellent game. And I strongly recommend you play it because it's got one of the best video game stories. It's probably been spoiled for you, but it's really good. Got an excellent twist at the end. It's just really solid overall. But it's built on Ayn Rand's objectivist philosophy, like Atlas Shrugged. So, in a nutshell, really quickly, Ayn Rand's objectivist philosophy is basically it's kind of might makes right. I'm not doing it justice, but it's basically like you need to work for everything that you get, and when you work for it, if you can earn it, you shouldn't be constrained by anybody else. So it's like man is the measure of all things. Kind of the polar opposite of a collectivist sort of communist ideal. And so BioShock is about this city that this guy who's like super Randian builds called Rapture, where he's like, we're going to have the best and the brightest, and we're not going to be shackled by governments or morals or anything like that. Like we're going to be free to pursue our potential to its maximum, and it ends up going horribly wrong because of human nature. So it's a really interesting explanation. And the guy who was talking was the guy who was doing the video said something to the effect of, people complain about stuff being political or woke today, but pointing to BioShock, like stuff is, art has always been political, something like that. And, it made me think of like, we talk about new Star Trek versus old Star Trek, and people are like, oh, well, Star Trek has always been political. And they're not wrong in a sense. And so what is it about stuff nowadays that's so different when we're annoyed when it's political, quote unquote political, and we weren't annoyed when it wasn't, when it was older? Why do we accept that and we don't accept the new one? So the first thing I need to say is, like, when we say political, I think people are equivocating. So equivocating is where you use the word in one sense definition, and then you use it again in a different definition. Like you swap definitions without saying you've been swapping definitions. So it's a logical fallacy. It's equivocating. But when we say it's political, we don't necessarily mean it's informed by politics. And that's where the equivocation comes in. Is sometimes something can be, so like if we talk about The West Wing or Veep or something like that, those are shows about like House of Cards. Those are shows about politics. So in that sense, they're political in the sense that they're literally about politics. Okay. But when we talk about Star Trek being political, Star Trek is not, I mean, there is some stuff about the government, but Star Trek itself is not about politics.
Right.
It's about, it's about a military force, right? Or exploration vessel or whatever, right? So people equivocate on the term political. And really, when we talk about stuff being political, what we mean is that it is presenting a worldview. And in that sense, everything is presenting a worldview unless it literally has no story.
Right.
Because everything has to be colored by the worldview that you're bringing to the table. And I think, and here's where I would draw the difference between what we see now and what we saw previously that makes it so much more intolerable, is that previously the worldview would inform the story, but it was primarily, let's tell a good story.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's saying the story is the vehicle to present the agenda, to present the worldview, and it's very moralizing in that oftentimes it's like, hey, this is the moral way of thinking. If you don't agree with this, you're a bad person. And so when we say things are woke, and I think that word has become very washed out.
Sure. Yeah.
To me, when I think of things being woke, I think of things of things saying, hey, here's my liberal viewpoint. And, people try to differentiate between liberalism and leftism. Liberalism is leftism with the lines drawn a little bit closer. But realistically, leftism is just liberalism taken to its logical endpoint. So you can argue about that all you want.
Yeah.
But we're not really here to argue politics. But so I was thinking about shows that I completely disagree with them politically. Like their worldview, I think is completely wrong, but I still enjoy the show. I think about The Good Place. Theology is atrocious, but it's still a fun and well-written show because the characters are interesting. So like old Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry was a secular humanist. And every now and then in Star Trek Next Generation, that would show up where they like meet this group of religious fanatics, and Picard gives them this whole spiel about how religion's garbage, and we've moved past that, and it's like very blatantly secular humanist philosophy of Gene Roddenberry showing through. And to my mind, that's the weaker version of Star Trek, because usually what Star Trek would do is it would present these scenarios and say, here's how the Federation feels about it, and even within the Federation, you had different viewpoints, and it would usually be clear who was right and who was wrong. Mm-hmm. But it was a little more nuanced than that, where they said, you would understand why, like, the Klingons are all about, being warriors and classical masculinity and honor and, very Viking-like, right? And so Worf had to figure out, how do I fit into this Federation that operates under different rules and different culture than the Klingon, but still be a Klingon? Like, he's still definitively a Klingon, but he's got to operate under different rules because he's no longer on a Klingon ship, right? So it would deal with things like culture shock and things like that, but it would always be driven by the characters and by the story, and the worldview was present, but it was always a backseat, right? It was subtle, more subtle, right? And when it becomes very overt, that's usually when it was weaker. And so I think about Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Brooklyn Nine-Nine It's a hysterical show, but it's about cops in New York City. And it's so clear when the worldview of the writers pops through, because they had like, the George Floyd thing in 2020. So they come back and like, well, Rosa stopped being a cop and protest George Floyd. I'm like, you live in New York. That has literally nothing to do with you. And then, they'd be like, oh, these problems with cops. But then also they'd be like, oh, and New York is an absolute crime-ridden hellhole. It's like, well, if it's crime-ridden hellhole, then that means you need the police. So they try to kind of, it was very obvious when they would come out and be like, oh, this is how we feel about these things, and we're on the right side of history. So it was very obvious. And those are honestly the weakest episodes of all of them. And there's two characters in there that I think are really interesting juxtapositions. So there's Rosa Diaz, who comes out as bisexual at some point, and I think they handled it as well as he could, but her bisexuality adds nothing to the character. It adds no dimension of intrigue to the character. There is some actual like tension between her and her family, so there is like some stuff that happens, but then other than that, it literally doesn't inform her character at all, other than people bringing it up to say, hey, Rosa, you're bisexual. Okay, so what?
Right.
Whereas Captain Holt, who's gay, does actually inform his character, because he became a cop in like the 70s, and he was like, I was an openly gay cop in this, and openly gay black cop in the 70s, and it was really hard for me.
He's gay.
And this is the whole thing where he does this joke, like, what the hardest part about growing up as a black gay cop in the 70s? The discrimination. But his character is phenomenal, because that the gay part of him is like an aspect of him, but it's not an overriding aspect, right? He's you can go whole episodes without him being like, oh, by the way, I'm gay, other than the fact that he has a rainbow flag on his desk and they had like rainbow binders. So
he's gay.
They do try to remind you, but they do it a lot of times. It's much more subtle. And because of that, he's a fantastic character who I absolutely adore. He's not an obnoxious gay character. And you turn it to like Dragon Age Vanguard was a game, a fantasy game, like Tolkien-esque fantasy, elves and wizards and things like that. And there's this whole thing where this one person sits down and is like, so I'm non-binary. And like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, are you stupid?
There's dragons.
There's dragons here, and you're talking about being non-binary? And that's what, when we talk about things, oh, it's woke, we're not saying like, oh, it has a left-leaning ideal, because everything in Hollywood does. 100%.
Yeah.
It's 100%, right? Not even a little bit. But it's so overt and it's so nonsensical to the story that it's cartoonish.
Yeah.
That's what really makes it political in a bad way, where it's like the story doesn't matter. The characters are just mouthpieces for the writers who can't conceive of people not being exactly like them.
Right.
And it's very frustrating. And it's one of the reasons that people, and again, I think saying woke is not helpful a lot of the times.
It's true. Yeah.
Because it's been so overused. You're like, oh, anything left is woke. Well, like everything in Hollywood is that.
Yeah.
And it just gets really frustrating. Hold on, I wrote down some more, because I was like, I'm gonna get lost in the sauce very easily. Yeah. So a lot of times it's very overt, like the girl boss stuff, where you're like, on one hand, you want there to be like, oh, you need to treat women with respect because we're trodden out by the patriarchy. But then on the other hand, you're like, women can do everything men can do. Okay, like which one are you? Are you oppressed or are you champions? Like you can't be both.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like it's logically impossible. But then there's also subtle stuff. So, and this is just something I picked up, especially when I was watching Evil. It's subtle things. Like the fact that in Evil, which is a 4-season show that's largely episodic, every single villain to a man is a white man. Every single one. And almost all the victims are women or people of color. Almost 100. almost universally.
That's life, though, Nathaniel.
Right?
White guys are never
I
victims.
cannot wait for the comment section on
and,
this one.
And it's been a
going
couple.
to be
It's been a couple new
phenomenal.
shows. So like Tracker, which is a show I really enjoy, and it's not like super obnoxious in your face about anything. However, every single villain is a white man. Every single one. Now, that one may just be because he's in like Montana and Wyoming, where it's mostly white men. I can kind of forgive that, but they're always just like, you know, these evil, rapey white men, and then you got the noble black man. And it's like, okay, your skin color doesn't determine whether you're a good person or a bad person. You can have good white men, you can have bad white men, you can have good black men, you can have bad black men, right? So, but they're like these subtle things that the show is trying to tell you, like, oh, it's actually kind of super evil. That you're like, oh, bad people look like this.
Yeah.
Good people look like this. And if you think about it, that's so horrible.
Yeah,
That's just super
well, it's exactly
evil.
what you're saying. That's where the movie is just pushing the
Pushing the agenda.
Yeah, the show is just pushing the agenda rather than like the agenda informing the movie.
And so I think about The West Wing, which again is political in a very real sense because it's about politics. And it was written by Aaron Sorkin, who's super liberal. But The West Wing was primarily written as a really good show with really good characters.
Yeah.
So again, there are moments when it kind of breaks through, and you're like, "Oy vey." There's one where he like talks to a conservative Christian woman, is like, "Well, I don't believe God hates gays," and blah blah blah, blah. Like gives this whole spiel. I'm like, "You have no idea what the Bible says, Aaron. I'm sorry." So it's like a roll your eyes moment. But the show itself is brilliant and super well acted and super good, and so you can have your worldview and make a good story. But it's because it's become completely inverted, where the story is just a vehicle. It's no longer about writing a good story. It's about telling people what they need to believe. And that's why they keep hijacking all these big name things, because they're such terrible garbage writers. They can't write anything original that would actually sell. If we look at all the original stuff that these people make, it's all trash. It all sells poorly. So they try to get into their parasites that infest popular things and hijack them so they can deliver their message and say, hey, you know how you felt about Klingons? You were wrong. Klingons are toxic and masculine. So we made a gay Klingon who's super effeminate and likes birds instead of fighting. I'm like, why? Why does he need to exist? To show that Klingons are diverse. Like, nobody cares. We want Klingons
are
to
diverse.
be Klingons.
Maybe they're not diverse.
Like, it's okay to just say, hey, Klingons are just like this. And anyways, I could go on for a very long time of it. But that's when people say, oh, this show is too political. And people are like, well, it's always been political. Like, maybe it has. But it's the way it's done that makes the difference.
Yeah.
It's the story being put first and foremost in, like, we're making a good show and it's going to be informed by worldview because that's just how we write, versus, hey, here's a show that I'm going to use to tell people how they should feel about certain things. And it's both overt and covert. And the covert stuff, I'm like, this is insidious. If a kid is watching this and like, oh, all white men are evil and all women are just like angels. And it's like, yeah, that's not reality. And they're going to get a bad idea of reality, even if they're not thinking about it. That gets into your head if you're not looking out for it.
There's that one medical show where they're like, how did he get this brain tumor?
Yeah.
And he's like,
racism. That's the overt kind, and that's so stupid.
That's hilarious. No, that was really good. I think might even need to follow up one of these at some point, but we have 5 minutes left, so we're going to try to race to Marco's last game.
Yeah, so let me explain the game really quick. First off, couldn't have said it better myself, Mr. Nathaniel. I
wish we had more time to dialogue on that.
We should
This
definitely
is one of
circle
those-
back to that.
Yeah, for sure we should, because the comment section alone is hilariously on point with what you've been talking about. But we'll get into that maybe next episode or something like that. But let me explain this game. In front of you, you guys have some movies. All of the movies on here, you
All
guys
of
have
mine
either,
say Surf Ninjas.
right. All of the movies on there have you have either seen or at least you know about it enough to give an explanation.
Don't tell
So
me
the
what I
goal,
know.
so the goal here is to explain the movie with one word, so that the other person can guess the movie. The individual who uses the least amount of words, the fewest amount of words, wins the game.
Okay.
And basically, they have to, at a certain point, they just have to say, give me another word. And
Correct.
The whole idea
Yeah,
is to
it's
see
right.
how-
So the rule is, if you say a word and the person gets it wrong, you have to say another one.
Okay.
You can't just keep guessing and guessing and guessing.
Fair.
That sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna keep score.
Okay.
I can just do tally marks.
That works too. Okay, cool.
All right. So I'm
I'm gonna leave you on the wide angle so you can put that right there. Perfect.
All right. So
And let's do the entirety of Greg's sheet, and then we'll do the entirety of Nathaniel's.
all
Sound
right.
good?
Well, I'm gonna win, and I don't know if there's any winning, but
I could just sabotage you. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say we're working together
natural born
here.
killers.
Well, no, it's a I guess yeah, you're working
What
together.
it should be is, I win if Greg uses the fewest words, and Greg wins if I use the fewest
But then
words.
you use bad
no,
words
no.
intentionally.
Well,
Yeah, the intention would
the
be
intention
is impossible to.
for our
Marco's
combined
gonna choose
the
who wins
intention
at the
is
end.
our combined total will be under 15. How about that? If
That's
we get
fair.
under 15, we both win. If we get over 15, we
That's
both
fair.
lose.
That's fair.
That works.
All right. So the first one, America.
Oh God, Independence Day.
Mel.
The Patriot.
There we go.
So 2.
All right, so I get through my whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stark.
Iron Man.
Can I use an accent?
No, you have to say the word as is. You have to say a word.
Oh man,
You can't be like,
there's so many lines in this, but
I know.
without using an accent,
I know.
they all just sound like nonsense. Oh man.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man. No, it all sounds bad if you just okay.
We're waiting.
Let's try. Run.
Forrest Gump.
Yes. Run could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that was great. I wanted to say chocolates. But I guess I would just say chocolate.
Yeah,
I
that'd
could
be-
just, can I use oh okay, never mind. Sorry. I'm reading. Sorry.
His one week.
Dream.
Inception.
Yes.
Nice.
Easy.
Coca-Cola?
The Polar Express.
Yes.
Hey!
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
wow.
I can't
Impressive.
believe I got the Polar Express.
Holy cow. I would have not got that.
Oh.
I mean, I know I knew it because
Yeah.
you wrote, but because I wrote it, but I would have never
Well done,
put
well
that
done.
2 and 2 together.
Oh man. You did a good job.
Right.
Nicely done.
Do I have to do them in order?
Yes.
Okay. Are you doing taboo rules? I'm not asking for the first one, but are you doing taboo rules where I can't say anything that incorporates any part of that?
Right. Like,
Correct.
I couldn't have said Gump and you say
No,
Forrest.
no. I'm not saying like
Oh boy. The rule. Oh boy. Here, wait. No.
just asking.
Yeah, that was that. To be fair, that was a good question.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
That was a good
'Cause
question.
Otherwise, that would be my clue.
Heard.
I think I have an. I can I look something up to just verify that I'm
Nope.
correct for the clue.
Nope. You got to go because we're already running late.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
already
yeah.
9:01.
Apples. Think of movies Marky will put on here.
Oh no! You are cheating,
I
sir.
am 100% cheating.
Because if you get
I'm
this,
not. That doesn't help me at all.
Just guess a movie.
Good Will Hunting. How you like them apples? Yeah.
yeah, well, that's
what I was-
cheating, sir.
That's what I was going for. Star Lord.
That's two.
Guardians of the
No, it's not.
Star Lord's one word.
Okay.
Star Lord's one word.
Okay, let me look it up. But
Guardians
yeah,
of the Galaxy.
I could have gone with Gamora
it's fine.
or Groot.
Where is Gamora?
Wilson.
Castaway.
That one's the easy one. Okay. Oakland. I really hope I'm right about this.
Oakland.
You got to stop talking, buddy.
Never. Oh,
Um,
I was gonna say, can I take that word back, Greg? Forget you heard that word. I have a better word.
No.
Oakland's not giving me anything.
Do your best.
Ninja Turtles.
The statistics.
Oakland statistics.
What was I wrong?
I'm not saying anything. You keep expanding.
Forget about Oakland. Just do statistics.
Oh my God, dude, stop talking.
can't
I'm gonna mute you.
I can't help it.
This is brutal,
All
bro.
right, pick something.
The whole
Come on. What,
I'm
do you
sorry.
have some
I've got to get an Oakland and statistics in a movie supposed
brother.
to
I
come
don't
out.
blame you, but also he needs to shut up. Defeats the whole purpose of the game.
Statistics.
Hopefully, people at home are screaming.
My
at the screen.
God.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
Statistics. Moneyball. Okay.
What-
Wow.
Was it the Oakland Day?
I'm pretty sure it was.
It is the Oakland A's. Yeah. I didn't get it.
I should have said
Oakland.
athletics.
Okay. Yeah,
Or
if you had said athletics, I would have gotten it.
freedom.
Braveheart.
Hey, we tied 6 and 6.
Hey,
There you go.
12,
Under nicely
15.
done.
Even if you took a couple of points for penalties.
Yeah, I'll take
brother.
2 points of penalty and we still win.
The whole point of the game, you missed it completely.
Oh no, I got it completely. I'm so bad at kibitzing. I am.
My God.
I just can't help myself.
Note
man.
to self: never play this game with Nathaniel.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
unfucking real.
Truly, bad
That was
at it.
fun. That was well done, Marco. Good
Yeah,
job.
no, that was good. That was fun.
I feel like more obscure
like those
movies
games.
would get even
Yes,
more fun.
I wanted to make sure that you guys got the gist of it. I'm going to do this again, but eventually it's going to be movies that are just way more off the wall.
yeah.
No ones that you've seen or at least know about.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Right.
but more off the wall for sure.
Yeah,
I put this as a general idea to get you an idea of what the game was, so that we can
I
continue
like
to
these
do it
kinds of
again.
games. They're really.
Yeah.
It's like code names, kind of.
Yes,
well,
but
it's
also
taboo. It's
but
taboo.
also the next time you're not allowed to talk ever after your word.
You're
The
going to mute his
whole
mic.
point.
Just mute his
The
mic.
problem is that you could still hear him.
That would be easier. Maybe easier.
It's
Anyways.
I'm just gonna start miming things. I'm gonna learn ASL before we do it. Like,
he's not allowed to use an accent, but you're allowed to say 6 different words after your words. Like that's pointless. Anyways,
Well, we're glad you
I was
guys.
gonna say Liam would have gotten
If
it
you
in
did
one.
stick around, we're glad you guys were here. Sorry for going a little over.
I'm not sorry.
We might be doing next week because in 2 weeks, Marco and I will be out of town. So we haven't talked to Nathaniel about that yet because he was late. So not my fault. But
Not my fault either. I had to make dinner, man. You moved the show an hour earlier. That made it a lot harder for me to get here on time.
We might be doing next week. If not, it'll be our normal 2 weeks. So just kind of keep an ear to the ground. And we'd love to see you here next week. So until next time, 40 podcast.
We gotta
I like
answer
the whiteboard.
comments. We gotta answer. Yeah, I do.
Next show.
I can leave
that's
this
where
here.
we're-
I'm not using it.
Yeah, next show we're gonna answer comments live.
Yeah, we got
That's
to
gonna
do
be our
that.
thing. We've gotten some good ones. The wildest.